What we do here is go back.
Hello there, everybody. How are we all? I'm well. I want you to know that, okay? Daddy's well. Thank you for asking. I forgot to fucking squidge my chair up again. I've worked out that this angle works better, but it means I have to scooch the chair up on the thing. There you go. In order for my fucking face to be on camera. There we go. Hello, everybody. I got everything else set up nicely, just not the height of my arse. What a time to be alive. Apologies I was not around yesterday. I wish I could say I was doing something worthwhile or good. I wasn't. I was watching football. We did win, but like it's in a competition I don't care about, so who gives a fuck? No one. So we'll move on. Tonight might be something of an audience refining episode. If one can even really call these episodes, I don't know. I hope not. I hope nobody's offended by any of the things I have to say. But you might be. I don't know. It depends how liberal/sensitive one is. I guess. I don't know. Yeah, because the first sort of half of the show, or first bit of the show, whatever, is going to be me having a dig at some shit libs. On both sides of the Atlantic. Or on either side of the Atlantic, I guess. Maybe. Anyway. Because the shit libs have been shitting and libbing in the most shit lib way you can imagine. And, yeah, I need to let it out. I need to let it out more than you can possibly imagine. I'm going to try and make myself not go mental and say things that will get me a visit from the police. I'm going to fucking try. But who knows? So, if you wanted to help with my legal costs, you can hit the follow button. You can subscribe. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime. You can give subs to the community. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime if you're on the Twitches. You can. What else can you do? You can do bits messages. 200 bits or more will get you a text-to-speech. You can do super chats for the Streamlabs link below. $2 or more, they get you a text-to-speach. You can help me out on Patreon and or PayPal. I've got a Discord, YouTube, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. If you're on YouTubes, hello YouTubes, you can become a member for as little as 99 pence, or as much as 99 pence. That is the one price. There are no other prices. You can give memberships to the community, and you can do super chats, which I will read out because I still haven't worked out how to do the thing where the YouTubes get read out as well. I don't know. I'm sure that's possible, but like heart surgery is also possible, just not by me, or at least successful heart surgery is possible, just not by me. We have talked about pig's titty fingers and the like before. Anyway. Yes. Right. I am going to try over the next 4 years not to play too much of Donald Trump. Okay? He is a person who relies on the oxygen of publicity. On occasion, it's going to be impossible not to. Because he's like the president or whatever. or king or whatever he becomes when they change the constitution to make him god emperor or something. So I'm going to try not to actually play like his words too much. I'll have to obviously talk about the topics, but I don't want to actually play like him speaking, because he needs that. He needs the publicity. The publicity is what he like. It's the oxygen to his fire. Okay, without it, he goes out. Without it, he cannot survive. He needs that attention. So I'm going to try not to give it to him. I am but a small fish in a large pond of oxygen. But I will endeavour to try and be as ethical as I can be during the process, okay? And today is exactly that thing, right? If you're a fan of mine, or I don't really have fans, if you're a viewer of mine, if you are a parasocial friend of mine, you will know probably already that Donald Trump has called for the annexing outright of the Gaza Strip, which won't have come as a surprise to you, because if you're a regular viewer, you definitely heard me say 1,000,000 times during the American general election that the price that Donald Trump paid for the financial support of Miriam Adelson was that she wanted the full annexation of the Gaza Strip. Now, to be fair, I think she wanted it for Israel, whereas Donald Trump seems to have slightly misunderstood and seems to think that America should occupy it and own it. Which would be, I mean, if there is one tiny shred of humour to be had out of this fucking awful genocidal ethnic cleansing bullshit, it's that it would be funny if Donald Trump's greed and imperialist endeavour fucked over the Zionists and America just took over. If Israel wanted, if the land that Israel wants, America's just going to take it now. He's gone Greenland crazy, and he's just going to put American boots on the ground, and you're going to have the Gaza Strip as the 51st state, and then Canada can be the 52nd state, perhaps. I don't know. So yeah, that would be at the very least slightly humorous, albeit not at all, because Donald Trump is literally, the American president is literally calling openly now for the ethnic cleansing. He was literally asked how many people would have to be removed from the Gaza Strip, and he said, was it 1.7 to 1.8 million, which is the entire population. He is directly, literally calling for the ethnic replacement of all Palestinians from that area. Terms of service preclude me from saying what I want to say about that man. People may take hints from anything that may be on the screen right now, I don't know, but I can't say anything about that, because I will definitely get into trouble. But you know what I want to say. Anyway. And of course he said this sat next to a grinning like a Cheshire cat Benjamin Netanyahu. Two sex pest, criminal, corrupt, evil, genocidal scumfucks in a pod. Yeah. Of course, Benjamin Netanyahu was the first foreign leader to visit Trump in the White House, because Israel literally owns, or should I say not Israel, the lobby, the Zionist lobby, own America. And I'm not saying that in a Zog kind of way. I'm saying directly they are very open about it. AIPAC basically chooses what America does. Its entirety of American foreign policy in the Middle East is decided by AIPAC. And that is it. Donald Trump's moratorium on foreign aid, for instance, is entire and worldwide except Israel. Except Israel. Israel still gets billions and billions and billions, and everyone else can fuck off and die and starve and die of AIDS. So, you know. So I don't want to play you the clip of him saying that. Because, I mean, first off, again, I don't want to give him the oxygen of it. And secondly, what would be the point? You know what he's saying is evil and bad, and I know what he's saying is evil and bad. So I don't need to, like, play the clip of that. really. What I will do, though, I think, is focus a little bit on the sort of gloating liberal shithouses that I've seen about on social media. I've got a few examples of them, but they're by no means exclusive examples. There are plenty of them out there. You don't need to search very, very hard. Yeah, they've annoyed me in a very, very significant way. So, like, a few examples I've seen. And again, this isn't like fascists saying this or anything. This is like just fucking... just shitlibs. Shitlibs shitlibbing, as they do, you know? Why won't you go away? There we go. Right. So... this individual... we'll just go with individual. Says, I have zero, capitalised, sympathy for the sympathy of the Palestinian Americans who stayed home or voted Trump. You get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. So the Palestinian American voters who didn't want to vote for people actively supporting a genocide against their people deserve to be genocided. Because that's what was going on here. Joe Biden, through his absolute fucking refusal to do anything at all to stop Benjamin Netanyahu and his evil cabinet of cunts from genociding the Palestinian people. Okay? And Kamala Harris was, of course, the candidate, but she did basically nothing to distance herself from Joe Biden's policy in any particular way. Of course, they did the thing of like, oh, well, we want a peace deal. We want we want a ceasefire, etc., etc. But they did nothing to bring it about. Like, they did nothing. They were fucking pathetic. Beyond pathetic. To the point where they were actively supporting the police, brutalising Palestinian protesters, or pro-Palestinian protesters, pro-peace protesters, on American campuses. And then wondered why those people didn't want to vote for them. What was he what was he supposed to do? Anything. By Pagan Man, anything. Literally anything. Would have been good. Like, threaten to stop some arms. Threaten to cut off aid until they get around a table and talk. Literally anything is better than the nothing they did. Anything would have been better. And again, fascists are worse. You're quite right. Fascists are a lot worse. And by the way, more of that incoming when we get to the British shit-libbings. Fascists are worse. And I said this during the election process, right? That I fucking hate Joe Biden and I hate Kamala Harris. Both of them deserved to lose. Trump deserved to lose worse, though, because he is worse on pretty much every issue, including Palestine, as he's already showing. He's barely got his fucking chair warm under his anus, and he's already worse than Joe Biden has been. But that's not a shock to anybody, I don't think. Certainly not a shock to any leftists, to any pro-Palestinian people. We knew he was going to be worse. But the point isn't why should you vote for Kamala Harris because Donald Trump is going to be worse, but you're still asking people to support their own genocide. Whether you think he's going to be worse is irrelevant to the situation of you are asking people who are either Palestinian themselves or Palestinian American or people who are pro-Palestine to vote for the continuation of the genocide of the Palestinian people, which we told both Joe Biden when he was the candidate and Kamala Harris when she was the candidate was not a winning strategy. It was not going to win you anything, okay? The very, very ultra-Zionist people who really, really care, they were never going to vote for you anyway. They're obviously going to vote for Trump because Trump's going to allow Benjamin Netanyahu to dance on the graves of Palestinians. Of course they're going to fucking vote for Trump. Michael Rappaport and his fucking lunatics were obviously going to vote for Donald Trump. So why are you trying to play into that game? I'm not asking Joe Biden or Kamala Harris to come out and start wearing a keffiyeh and fucking going on about the Islamic Jihad or some shit. Okay? I'm not asking them to do a 180. Just do something. Do literally something to try and stop this. Give people a sign that it's not just genocide or slightly more genocide. Because that's not a choice that anyone is going to want to make. Most normal people, and I remember this during the election, right? There was a viral tweet that went around about, if you've got 100% Hitler and 95% Hitler, you should vote for 95% Hitler. No! No. I'm not voting for 95% Hitler. I'm not fucking doing it. I get the idea of harm reduction, and by the way, I'm not suggesting that she is 95% Hitler, because she's not. But the point I'm making is, there comes a point where you are asking people to do something so fucking hideous that it goes beyond harm reduction at that point. If the choice is genocide or genocide, I choose not to fucking vote. And millions of others did too. And liberals like Alex here, and there are lots like him, this is not unrepresentative of a lot of people I've seen online, you don't get to lose an election really badly to a convicted felon, twice impeached, and then turn around and be like boasting about it and be like, fucking use that as a way of dunking on people. You lost. What's the left always told? That the voter's never wrong, is he? The voter's not wrong. If you tell the voter that they're wrong, then you're not doing democracy properly. But apparently that only works with fascists. And so we should always just tack towards more fucking fascism. When it comes to any progressive issue, the Democratic Party don't give a fuck. When it comes to any progressive issue, the Labour Party don't give any fuck. So when when leftists choose not to vote for Kamala Harris, why isn't the Democratic Party looking at that and thinking, maybe we could do something to win their votes, rather than just take them for granted? And then, on top of that, to add insult to the fucking injury, they then turn around and take the piss and say, actually, you deserve to be genocided because you didn't vote with me. Because you didn't vote for the person I like, you deserve to be genocided. Fuck you. Do you wonder why you might fucking lose votes? Do you wonder why people stay at home in their millions? Because you're condescending cunts. That's why. Not only are your policies corporatist wank that no one really wants, because it's not 1993, it's the economy stupid. We're not living in the fucking Clinton era anymore. Get with the fucking programme. Either get with populism or die to populism. It's one way or the other. That's the era we're in right now. So you going, it's great to be that the billionaires exist. Who believes this? Who wants this fucking shit? Not everyone's out there Luigi posting, but no one's super cool with the economic disparities in the world right now. People want some kind of progressive change, and the Democratic Party fundamentally don't fucking offer that. And on top of that, they're also supporting fucking genocide. And when shown conclusively that it's not a winning strategy, they're just going to go with it anyway. Because that's where the money is. They need donations, so fuck you. And then they wonder, like when they get an opportunity to do anything, oh, the parliamentarian said we can't. Why the fuck would people ever vote for you? You're fucking useless. You're fucking useless. At best. You keep putting up wankers like Kristen Sinema. And fucking John Fetterman post fucking brain bonk, right? And Joe Manchin. Fucking awful cunts. Awful, awful cunts. But AOC's the problem. You know, like, it's just, oh, God. These people, they're fucking insufferable, man. Look at him. He literally pushed it. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? How cucked do you have to be as a nation? He literally pushed his fucking chair in for him. Look, is he trying to get into his pants? Look, is he going to buy him dinner and ply him with a few drinks and see if he can get his fucking fingers stinky? What's going on here? Is that better or worse than when he curtsied to the King of Saudi Arabia? I don't know. It's as weird, I know that much. Look at this fucking wanker. How's that uncommitted vote going for you? Well, I mean, for a start off, Kamala Harris is not the one smiling about that, are they? Like, she fucking lost. She's going to have to go down in history as the person who lost to a felon. A twice impeached felon. One of the least popular human beings to ever be president. And she lost to him. I would say that uncommitted vote isn't going very well for you either. Actually. Maybe you could have done something to make them a committed voter. Just a thought. How's it going? Not great. Not great, but again, and I really don't want to fall out with you, by pagan man, over this, okay? But I did say at the top of the show it might be a refining process tonight. It's not going well, but the people not voting for you aren't the ones to blame. The people to blame are the politicians who were warned repeatedly not to take their votes for granted, and did. People not voting for your candidate is not those people's fault for not voting for your candidate. Your candidate didn't do enough to get them out to vote. That's on the candidate. In a democracy, the voters aren't wrong. The politicians are. The Democratic Party tried to foist a, let's just say, a low-energy candidate. A very, very, very low-energy candidate in Joe Biden. We won't go into his potential mental faculties. We don't need to go to that place. Let's just say a low-energy, unpopular candidate because of seniority. Okay? Even though Joe Biden's own internal polling was so fucking bad that he was basically guaranteed to lose. And he still wanted to go. And the Democratic Party were fucking fine with that. It was only that disastrous fucking debate performance that forced them to do something. And then it was too late to actually have a proper candidate. The only one they could go for was someone similarly unpopular. Much more high energy. Definitely had her mental faculties. But, like, not that well known. So you then have an unpopular, not that well known, albeit she was vice president, so sort of well known, but not, like, crazy, like, brilliantly well known candidate who on short notice has to go and fight an election. Maybe try and not throw away votes then, because it's going to be a tight election. Maybe. It's just a thought. How's that uncommitted vote going for it? You lost! I can't believe there are Democrats out there using their own L. They posted a massive fucking L, and they're using that to try and dunk on other people. You lost. How's that uncommitted vote going for you? You fucking lost. You didn't just lose, you lost the popular vote to the most unpopular president ever. Maybe you don't take people's votes for granted. It's just a thought. Oh, this one, lovely. So it's got number 46. So this is apparently a Biden supporter. All caps. Ha 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 ha. Trump Tower hotels in Gaza Strip. Brackets. Sorry, comma. Suckers. And then 6 exclamation points. Like, that's genuinely gloating. That's like reveling in the evil. Like, when you were trying to warn before the election about Trump being a fascist, I personally thought you were doing that because you might actually care about the people who that fascism would affect. That you thought that fascism was bad, actually, and you were trying to warn people so that the fascism didn't happen. Because you thought the fascism was bad and would be genuinely upset by that fascism happening. Whereas you actually seem rather happy. Rather happy that the fascism is now happening. And you get to then gloat because you're not the victim of the fascism, presumably. Presumably this person isn't a Palestinian, doesn't care for the Palestinians particularly. You're actually happy that the fascism happened and that you're now reveling. You're now a pig rolling around in the fascist shit. And then you wonder why ethnic minorities might look at you and think that you're a disingenuous piece of shit and not vote for you. Have you considered this could be seasonal cherry picking? Don't get me wrong. I'm not pretending that this is every single liberal. I'm not pretending that for a second. What I will say is I've seen a lot of this. This is not entirely unrepresentative of liberals. I know there are lots of liberals who don't do this. Christy Winters is my go-to example. Christy Winters would not do this because she's not an evil bastard. And she is a legitimate anti-fascist. She's one of the liberals who you scratch, you will not see a fascist bleed, etc. But unfortunately, it seems there are quite a number who are. And I'm showing you a few of them now. Again, it's not representative of every liberal, certainly not. I know there are lots of liberals who are genuinely upset, angry, disgusted, afraid. To them, my heart goes out. But these people, these fuckers, they're bad people. They're bad people. Similarly here. So this was breaking news from the Times. Before meeting the Palestinian Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, President Trump declares Palestinians have no alternative but to leave Gaza. And then this fucking cunt says, hope everyone is happy that they got Genocide Joe out of office. I mean, for a start off, he wasn't the candidate. And he wouldn't have won had he been the candidate. So regardless of how anyone voted, he wasn't going to be president. So you fucked up a little bit there. Just a smidge. But secondly, let's say you got rid of genocide Kamala. In a way, yeah. Okay, yeah. I am. Again, I'm more angry that Trump is president than Kamala isn't, if that makes sense. Joe Biden / Kamala Harris deserve to lose the election, but they deserve to lose a lot less than Trump did, because Trump's evil. But just as a standalone sentence, am I happy that Joe Biden is not president anymore? Yes. Joe Biden was a fucking shithouse president. He will...
Get the fuck, they came not play me all the mutant.
He should... and will be remembered as Genocide Joe. He will be remembered as, on the home front, an ineffectual wanker. And on the foreign affairs, he will be remembered for supporting and aiding the genocide of the Palestinian people. Simple as that. Very simple. So yes, just as a standalone sentence, am I happy that he's out of office? Yes. Am I happy that Kamala Harris is not president? Yes. Am I very, very, very unhappy that that Trump is president? Also yes. 100%. Because the thing is, and again, when you offer people genocide or more genocide, in theory, if we were robots and you just do the calculus of it, yeah, you should vote for the slightly less genocide. But we're not fucking robots, and people aren't going to vote for genocide, even if they suspect that by doing that, there might be more genocide. because people don't want to take upon themselves the moral weight, the crippling, crushing moral weight of having supported the genocide candidate. The candidate that said that, I mean, oh, well, we want a thing, but, you know, Israel has a right to defend herself. Shit. The candidate that promised that basically nothing would fucking change. The candidate that promised that there wasn't going to be any positive real outcome here. That Palestine was still going to get fucked over, just slightly less quickly. So you're still asking people who care about Palestine to vote for the genocide of the Palestinian people, and they're not going to fucking do it. Even if the other alternative is worse. People are not going to vote for 95% Hitler to stop 100% Hitler. Could we have 50% Hitler? I mean, ideally you'd want no percent Hitler. But, like, let's be realistic, unfortunately. How about 30% Hitler? Can we negotiate a percentage of Hitler that is a lot less than 95 fucking percent? And then, like I say, to add it all up, like, you're then going to choose the specific day where Joe Biden has actively... Not Joe Biden, sorry. Donald Trump has come out and said that the removal of 1.7 million people from Palestine is a thing that's going to happen. Outright ethnic cleansing, war crime, genocide shit. You chose that day. You chose that day to go, I guess you fucking deserved it because you didn't vote for my candidate. Where the fuck do you get off? You sick bastards. You fucking... You deranged, brain-wormed fucks. How poisoned is your soul that you choose to do a genocide dunk? Not just that, a genocide dunk celebrating the fact that you fucking lost. You lost. You took on the least popular president ever, 1 million fucking felonies, twice fucking impeached, and you lost the popular vote to him. And you then used that as a platform to dunk on people who were being genocided. I mean, bravo. Your parents must be so fucking proud. Terms of service, genuinely, terms of service stop me. And that and potential malicious communications laws are the only things stopping me from saying what I hope happens to you. Okay? You deserve it. Apologies. Okay. We're now going to get onto British politics. And as I don't want to just do angry all the way through, I'm going to tell you about a man that I learned the name of today. I was watching Parliament. And so I have pre-watched Prime Minister's questions, which we'll get onto later. That's not going to happen just yet. But yeah, I was watching Parliament, and before Prime Minister's questions, they had I forget even what it was, might have been women's inequalities questions or whatever the fuck it was. One of the departments. And I saw a Tory stand up. I'd never seen him before. I didn't know who the fuck he was. And I saw his name pop up on the screen. And I genuinely, I thought, this is the maddest. There's no way that's his real name. May I introduce to you the MP for Broxbourne, Lewis Cocking. That is the name of a member of the British Parliament. Lewis Cocking. Which, like, it's so Dutch. It's so Dutch coded. I love it. Lewis Cocking. Now, I don't think there will ever be a Conservative Prime Minister again in the UK. Unless there's like a coalition or something like that. I don't think they're ever going to be popular enough to form a government of their own. But if there ever is a Conservative Prime Minister ever and again in the future, I think I know which one I want it to be. I think we are all officially on the cocking train. Okay? We are all on the cocking train. Yeah? High five? High five? Bang. Love it. How badly do you think he got bullied at school? Like, he must have been pretty bad, right? Not only is he a Conservative, but he's got a name like that. Like, there's no way he didn't get absolutely beasted and feasted. Come on now. Thank you, Mad Cat Scotty for Raiderinos. And thank you, Nitros420. Who says, honestly, I agree and disagree with you. I thought that genocide remark was extremely inappropriate. What genocide remark? You'll have to be more specific. Yeah. I don't know what you mean. But thank you. Thank you for the bits. Much love. Oh, pardon me. Anyway. Now we go on to British shit libs. Or more specifically, one British shit lib. David Mitchell. Now. Oh, pardon me. David Mitchell. He is a comedy writer, actor, general actor, I guess, who's been in various things that I've enjoyed enormously. I think probably the thing you're most likely to well know him from, as a meme to the Americans, is a bit from his sketch show, That Mitchell and Webb Look, which is very good.
They're coming. Now we'll see how these Russians deal with a crack SS division.
Hans?
Have courage, my friend.
Yeah. Hans, I've just noticed something.
These communists are all cowards.
Have you looked at our caps recently?
Our caps?
The badges on our caps. Have you looked at them?
What? No. A bit?
They've got skulls on them. Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't,
Hans, are we the baddies?
Right, let's see. We should be able to hold them at this point here, at least for a few hours.
I mean, why skulls, though?
What?
Why skulls?
Well, maybe they're the skulls of our enemies.
Maybe. But is that how it comes across? I mean, it doesn't say next to the skull, you know, yeah, we killed him, but trust us, this guy was horrid.
Well, no, but...
I mean, what do skulls make you think of? Death, cannibals, beheading, pirates.
Pirates are fun.
I didn't say we weren't fun, but fun or not, pirates are still the baddies. I just can't think of anything good about a skull.
What about pure Aryan skull shape?
Even that is more usually depicted with the skin still on. Whereas the Allies...
Oh, you haven't been listening to Allied propaganda. Of course they're going to say we're the bad guys.
But they didn't get to design our uniforms. Their symbols are all, you know, quite nice. Stars, stripes, lions, sickles.
What's so good about a sickle?
Well, nothing. And obviously, if there's one thing we've learnt in the last 1,000 miles of retreat, is that Russian agriculture is in dire need of mechanization. But you've got to say, it's better than a skull. I mean, I really can't think of anything worse as a symbol than a skull.
Rats
anus?
Yeah, and if we were fighting an army marching under the banner of a rat's anus, I'd probably be a lot less worried, Hans.
Okay. So...
Anyway, so you might know him from that meme. Anyway, so he's a funny guy. But as you may also be able to tell from his accent, he is quite an upper class man, or at least an upper middle class type guy. He's also quite wealthy, given that he's been on TV and in films and so on and so on. He's also married to Victoria Coren Mitchell, who herself is quite wealthy, and they're well-connected people, right? None of that is necessarily a bad thing. I bring it up only because what is most annoying about liberals isn't just the condescension. It's the fact that the things that they say, they know that, or the things they support, they know the bad elements of that aren't going to affect them. When they go on about adults in the room, when they go on about
Ladies and gentlemen,
being realistic
victory is ours.
and things like that, they know that the reduction in living standards isn't going to affect them. Because it doesn't matter if everyone else gets poorer, he's not going to get poorer. He's absolutely fine. Even if he did get slightly poorer, he'd still be very rich. So it's especially galling that he wrote this article. Now, before we get into it, the general thesis of the point here is correct. Okay, it's called "Here's a shocking finding: Gen Z or Gen Z, whatever. Democracy isn't perfect. According to a new poll, half of 13 to 27-year-olds can't see the point of those time-wasting elections and parliaments. Why do they not know that authoritarianism is worse? Now, none of that is technically incorrect. Authoritarianism is worse than democracy. Democracy isn't perfect. It could never be so.
Get to fuck, they came not play me all these mutants. Get to fuck.
Democracy is not perfect. It could never be so. Literally, the word dem in there, the demos, means people, right? So the fact that it's people, an imperfect group of individuals and an imperfect collective, cannot possibly form a perfect situation. So he is literally correct. Literally correct. But the underlying point and smugness and condescension and shut up kids, I'm alright, go fuck yourself attitude has angered me in a way that I haven't been angry since the last thing we covered. We'll get to it. But noises happened. What noises were they? Thank you, Sozzled Snake, for just re-subscribing. Why can't I fucking talk tonight? Thank you very much. Thank you, Bite My Thumb, for following. And, thank you for raiding, Bite My Thumb. Much love. Welcome in. Welcome in, Raiderinos. Hello there. I am Kevin Logan. I am a socialist from the UK. I cover politics from a left-wing perspective. Blah, 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 blah. You should hit the follow button if that's of any interest to you whatsoever. It's free, and you can always change your mind later anyway. We're currently looking at an article in a newspaper. I know, how very quaint. Yes. So David Mitchell talking about democracy and that. It's very, very galling, this, okay? So just stick with it. And as I've been talking a lot and my voice is starting to go a little bit hoarse, we're going to listen to this article because we can.
Here's a shocking finding. Gen Z, democracy isn't perfect. According to a new poll, half of our 13 to 27-year-olds can't see the point of all those time-wasting elections and parliaments. Why do they not know that authoritarianism is worse? The phrase shocking findings is hugely overused in the media, which is strange because it's so clumsy. The word endings nearly rhyme, but not quite. And there's something infantile about the word finding for something you've found. Is your lunch your eatings? Did you do any pooings this morning? Always go for a weeing before leaving the house or building.
Okay, that's pretty funny, to be fair. I'd never thought of it in that way. That is funny.
Most shocking findings don't turn out to be that shocking. The phrase gets deployed to dupe you into reading on, and then it's just some study that's come out with something predictably depressing. Not this time. Last week, there were some genuinely shocking findings. I'd go so far as simply to call them shockings. Never mind that they were found, that's not their key characteristic at all. They're shockings, infuriatings, and frankly frightenings.
Now, that's worth bearing in mind. If you find something, and again, the finding is not the important factor, of course. If there's something shocking, infuriating, and frightening, maybe do something about that. Don't just lecture people on the thing that you find frightening, because that is nothing. That doesn't change anything. You hectoring somebody else based on history that they don't know anything about, because funding in education was cut, so they don't know anything. That isn't, that's not going to really work. For instance, like if someone finds that democracy isn't working for them, you just saying, well, I like democracy. Democracy works very well for me. I'm very rich and well off. That doesn't help them in any way, and doesn't change the shocking or frightening thing. If anything, it's going to make that shocking or frightening thing even worse, because now you've just further entrenched this person's belief that the system that they don't like is shit, because it's supported by rich, condescending wankers who don't have to suffer the sharp end of that system. Just a thought.
They were in a poll that forms part of a Channel 4 report called Gen Z, Trends, Truth, and Trust. It must have been an act of colossal corporate self-loathing to commission that, because one of the things it's bound to say is that General Z, which is 13 to 27-year-olds, watches less TV than any bunch of youngsters since before the late Queen's coronation first got everyone into it. That's bad news for all television broadcasters, but it threatens to condemn a youth-skewed one such as Channel 4 to the fate of a youth-skewed retailer of tartan shopping trolleys. But the horrifyings weren't about viewing habits, they were about politics. The polling company Kraft said that 52% of Gen Zers think the UK would be a better place if a strong leader was in charge who does not have to bother with parliament or elections. I know what you're thinking.
No. I would argue that is very fucking worrying. That's very worrying indeed. 52% of Gen Zers are basically in favour of a cheeky bit of fascism. Firstly, I would caution against the frightening there, that these are quite young people, quite jaded, quite emotionally unbalanced people, because they're very young. If you're in Gen Z, you are, 20 at most? You don't necessarily have it all worked out at this point. The younger you are, generally the more extreme your politics tends to be. And that people tend to calm down a bit as they get to understand the nuance of existence. It's certainly an experience I went through, and a lot of people have gone through. So there's that. But either way, that's still a frighteningly high percentage. Again, if I saw that frighteningly high percentage, I wouldn't just go, well, democracy's better than something else, when democracy isn't working for, at the very least, 52% of our most vulnerable people in society. Or age-wise vulnerable.
It should be if a strong leader were in charge. And also, yes, that is more than half of them basically saying screw democracy, it doesn't work. Another worrying, a third of them think the army should be in charge.
Yeah, that is worrying. Have you stopped to think and ask yourself, dear rich man, why they don't think democracy doesn't work? What is it about the current economic and political situation that has led people to believe these things? Non-binary question, can I pay you to proofread a letter? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Oh my god, that is an image that exists. I mean, I know they say the world is your canvas, but you don't have to. Just saying. Some of them might be tankies, to be fair. Oh, I'm sure some of them are. Yeah, I'm sure some of them are. Yeah, 100%. To the degree that they can be called anything, really. Like, some of them will be at least economically left-wing authoritarians, yeah.
I was properly shocked. I thought the intellectual argument in favor of democracy had been won.
That's such a fucking privileged nonsense thought. That's so Fukuyama end of history bullshit. No argument is ever won. Democracy is such a young system, let's say, in its modern iteration. Obviously, you can go back to ancient Greece and all that shit, but modern liberal democracy, and that's what he means, by the way. He doesn't mean economic democracy or any of those funny communoid ideas. He means liberal parliamentary democracy. Is a relatively new, not very well entrenched system. Even in the countries where you think, well, that must have gone really well. Look at France. France has had 3 separate republics over the last 80 years. Democracy has been found faulty and had to be restarted 2 separate times. America is currently going through, let's say, an interesting democratic moment. Let's put it that way. In Australia, the CIA overthrew one of its prime ministers. In South and Central America, the CIA overthrew everyone's fucking prime minister / presidents. So, you know, the idea that the argument for democracy has been won is absurd. That's not how any of this works. Why is it won? Do you think that people give a fuck about, like, individual Lockean perspective or whatever in 2025? Do you think someone who's 20 years old gives 2 fucks about, like, the Voting Rights Act of 1924? No. These things are fucking irrelevant to them. What they see is that the system that made you rich has made them poor. That's what they see. That's what they know. That's the thing that's staring them in the fucking face every day. And so you, a very rich, privileged individual, condescending to them like, what, they don't already know that this system is the best it could possibly be? Why are they complaining about anything? Just shut up and eat your gruel, if you even have any gruel. If you don't have gruel, well, fascism's worse, so there. Do you realise how much of a cunt you sound? Do you have any idea how spectacularly privileged and cunty you sound, David? And again, this is not coming from a place of hatred. I like your work. I think you're a funny dude. I think you're a very clever dude. I also think you're a very posh dude. And the poshness is showing in a very, very fucking irritating way right now.
The majority of the global population doesn't live in functioning democracies, but most regimes at least claim to be a bit democratic. Until last week I found that contemptibly hypocritical. Now I think it's heartwarming. Those lying dictators are still like I was, taking it as a given that everyone thinks democracy is the fairest system of government. You can withhold people's right to self-determination, but you can't persuade them not to want it. If it's not a democracy, it's at least got to pretend it is.
Right, but that's the point. Much of what Britain is a democracy, or is not democracy pretending to be democracy. Like, this is so ass backward from David. No one said, in the initial question, it didn't say, do you think a one-man dictatorship, or do you think the army being in control would be fairer? We'll go back. The exact question was, would the UK be a better place if a strong leader who was in charge didn't have to bother with parliaments or elections? Didn't say anything about fairness. Didn't remotely mention anything about fairness. Didn't mention whether these people thought fairness was even a factor in that they would give 2 fucks about one way or the other. They said, would it be a better place? when you see the supposedly fair system, and this apparently, you believe, David, the current system is the fair system. This democracy, this liberal democracy we have, is the fair system. Where we have a record number of billionaires and a record number of food banks. Where we have old age pensioners having their one little crumb of comfort, the winter fuel allowance, stolen from them, whilst the rich pay the lowest level of tax they've basically ever fucking paid. When that's what they see from the fair system, why would they vote for the fair system? The fair system seems like a bag of shit. The fair system seems like it might be shitting in their face and telling them it's chocolate. So why would they not go for the unfair system where they might stand a chance of being able to live comfortably? That's the question you're going to ask yourself, David. If your fair system leads to 52% of its younger people wanting to overthrow that fair system, maybe it's not such a fucking fair system. Maybe it's a system that's crushing down on a group of people that don't represent you, and that you don't represent, and that you don't know, care about, you don't seem to be able to even view as a part of your society. I don't know. You certainly don't care for their opinions, apparently. Why is your fair system leading to people wanting to tear it down, if it is indeed so fantastically fair? Question is, why haven't you even asked that question of yourself? Now, some people might say he's a comedian. I would say he's writing about politics. I don't give a fuck what his primary job is. If a heart surgeon starts talking about, like, oh, Hitler was cool, I'm not going to go, well, he's a heart surgeon, never mind. No, fuck it. He's a piece of shit. He's wrong.
Not for much longer, it seems. The coming generation can't see the point of all those time-wasting elections and parliaments. They want neither the reality nor the pretense of being involved. In a sense, they've brilliantly proved their own argument against democracy. If they are so wrong-headed, maybe it is better not to consult them? In a way, they're making a very clever satirical point, except they're obviously fucking morons.
Nothing like trying to win them over with a bit of charm. Again, I think they're wrong. I think they're drastically wrong. I don't think they're morons. I think they've seen a problem that really exists in the world that you haven't seen, because, again, it's not affecting you. Austerity doesn't affect you. Whether there is a public library anywhere around you doesn't affect you. Whether the NHS is in good shape or not doesn't affect you. You can afford to go private. Whether crime is down doesn't really affect you. You can afford private security. You can afford the best security system in the world. You can indeed go and buy a place in the middle of fucking nowhere where there are no other people to annoy you. No pawns around. These people are not morons. They're desperate. When you can't afford to ever leave your parents' house, you're not a moron. You're desperate. When you can't find a job, even if you're highly educated, even if you've got a university degree and you still can't find a job, or a job that you can afford to live on. Oh, there's plenty of gig economy jobs, but anything that you can actually afford to live on, you can't find it. You're not a moron. You're desperate. When you see criminality rife in the cities, and indeed in the countryside, but the cities are pretty bad, and seemingly not being dealt with as a serious problem because the police couldn't give a fuck. You're not a moron. You're desperate. When you see no economic way forward whilst billionaires thrive, you're not a moron. You're desperate. These people are angry, depressed, nihilistic, and desperate people who are searching for any twig to grab on as they drown. And if all you've got in the tank is, well, you're a moron because you don't believe in liberal democracy, you are the reason that Nigel Farage will win. You and Keir Starmer and all of your fart-huffing adults in the room, fucking fiddling while Rome burns wankers, are the reason that Nigel Farage will become Prime Minister. If indeed he does. We'll still wait and see on that one. But if he does, you will be the reason why. You are the... I've forgotten the name of him. Anyway, there was a conservative twat who was one of the last chancellors of Weimar Germany, who tried to do this austerity fucking bullshit that ultimately led to the downfall of democracy and the rise of Hitler. And I'm not saying Farage is Hitler. Farage doesn't even have a Hugo Boss suit. Or skulls on his cap, as we saw earlier. But he is one of the baddies, beyond no illusion. But it's this kind of, we're against student politics, we're serious, we're the adults in the room bullshit that will lead to this. Because people are fucking desperate. The economic straits of the people here is so abysmally bad. That study that we've looked at before, where outside of London and the South East, the economy of the rest of the UK is as bad as Alabama, it's gotten worse since then. Alabama's probably hasn't increased that much more, but ours has gotten significantly worse. So we are now sub-Alabama. People are desperate and they're looking for any way out. And neither of the major parties is offering them even the slightest, even the fucking slightest bit of change. People voted for the Labour Party for change, and they are getting precisely the same shit. Lying, corrupt, corporatist cunts, cutting services, not taxing the rich. Because it's adults in the room. Don't you know? You stupid fools. You Gen Z fucking morons. Don't you know that this is the best it could possibly be? Why would there ever be any change that might improve your life in any way? No, fuck you. I'm rich, David Mitchell. Me and my dinner party friends have all decided that this is the way it has to be. Now, don't go getting any ideas like things might change or that you, the lowly pleb, could possibly do anything to affect our fucking grand liberal agreement that everything's just fine the way it is and that nothing can ever possibly change. No, you just sit there and shut the fuck up and be poor and have no future forever, you morons. You fucking disgust me. Honest to God. The levels of condescension. Fucking hell, man. People like this will be the death of democracy. I swear to fucking God. They will be the death of democracy. Thank you, Nellis, for resubscribing. Much love to you. Thank you, Kieran. If you need something to cheer you up, recommend the match highlights from my brother's Sunday League quarterfinal. Blah, 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 blah. You did, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, we do have some Man United fan reacts for after this, if we ever get through it.
Sign up to Observed. Observed, free weekly newsletter. Having said that, it's clear what they're getting at. A brilliant, dedicated, and compassionate person with absolute power, making sensible decisions in the long-term national interest, not being troubled by the grubbiness of political rivalry, the willful misinterpretation of their beneficent policy by those who wish to grab power for themselves, would be a wonderful thing. Its only downside is that it's impossible to achieve. No dictator or monarch in history has ever stuck to that approach for more than a week, and most of them never tried it. But I can understand why the chaos and disappointment of contemporary politics might make a naive person yearn for a clear-eyed nutter knocking people's heads together. Just last week, Rachel Reeves, supposedly part of a grown-up, responsible and progressive government, backed a third runway for Heathrow Airport in the name of economic growth. That's the #1 priority now, and the government wants everyone to know it. I'm not against economic growth, but it's definitely not the most important issue. Averting climate catastrophe should take precedence. I mean, shouldn't it? Or is that just woke? I thought LA had basically burned down. Is this really the time for us to make a massive airport massiver? Am I missing?
Well, yeah, you are missing something. That's the grown-up. That is the grown-up policy. What did you think this was about? Did you think for a second that this was about actually, the grown-ups in the room was about making the world better? No. The grown-ups in the room is making, making rich people richer. That's the only thing that can ever be. Okay. This is the report. For interesting, better context. Thank you, Maranaka. I will take a look at that shortly.
Something? Is this not the overt prioritizing of a government's short-term political survival over the biggest crisis humanity is facing? With any broader perspective at all, opening a new runway at...
No, it's not even about the short-term survival. It's literally just about making rich people richer. Yeah, that's all this is. What did you ever think any of that was about? This adults in the room, this Jeremy Corbyn's a fucking anti-Semite. This was all about trying to make rich people richer. That's all. That's what adults in the room means.
Heathrow is stupid. And I think our current government are, in political terms, the good guys. Yet here they are doing...
What the...
Hey, Speechify here. You've exceeded your HD word limit. In order to continue enjoying your experience with high-quality voices, please upgrade your subscription by clicking the upgrade button.
How do I stop that noise? No.
If you're not ready to upgrade, you can continue listening with non-HD voices.
Of staying in power under the current democratic system. The working of democracy and the electoral cycle routinely condemn us to this kind of poor decision.
Does anyone want to pay for me to go HD on that, or whatever the fuck it was?
Us to this kind of poor decision. In many ways, it is pretty repellent. Nevertheless, the problems with dictatorship are far more savage. Why do 52% of young people not realize that?
It's got nothing to do with them not realising anything. It's that this system doesn't work for them. So they're prepared to try anything else. Because again, they're desperate. And at no point do you even ask that. Even that bit where you just did a little diversion so that you could whinge about the Heathrow thing. Which, by the way, I agree with him. I think the Heathrow expansion is a really fucking stupid idea. But that's just him whinging about a thing he doesn't like. He wasn't at all trying to be like... Why aren't the government responsive to the needs of their people? That's not even a point that he gets across there at all. He's not even trying to examine the entire problem with this.
Not the fun number, just what bits I have. Kitty bong.
Thank you, Wayward Historian. Much love.
Screw falling literacy rates. This is the most horrendous betrayal our education system has ever perpetrated.
Well, how about you don't underfund the education system to the point where we have crumbling fucking schools? Because, hey, adults in the room, this is your neoliberal democracy, David. This is where it fucking leads, mate. How about if you had children with any semblance of a future, they wouldn't be looking towards fascism. But you don't even analyse that at all in this discussion. No. You're just going to wank yourself off that you know that fascism is worse than democracy. Aren't I clever? No, you're just a self-important idiot. Ironically, you're the fucking moron here. Because you don't get it at all. You genuinely don't get it seems.
52% of young people not realize that. Screw falling literacy rates. This is the most horrendous betrayal our education system has ever perpetrated. What happened? Did nobody tell them about Stalin? Have they not heard about Kim Jong-un? Or
did you not hear about fucking 100 squillion dead Vuvuzela? Don't you know that this is the best it could ever possibly be? Stop complaining.
Perhaps it's the opposite. Is this where fatuous positivity has got us? Has someone tried to feed young people the bullshit that democracy isn't flawed, and they've noticed that it is, and think that means it's failed? Politics in a free country is dirty, complicated, and often driven by fear, vanity, and corruption. Democracy is, as Winston Churchill said, the worst system except for all the other ones. Did no one explain that to them?
So you're literally just going to go with, I think these people are stupid. That's it. That's your explanation. It's just these people are stupid and ignorant. And there's nothing else to it. What an unbelievable fucking wanker. Honest to God, this is so disappointing.
Or perhaps it's the opposite. Or are their phone-addled attention spans so short that they couldn't stay focused for the second half of the phrase?
Oh, wow. Oh, he's so boomer. He's literally going, oh, mobile phones. It must be the phones. It's the mobile phone. See? Oh, they like fascism because of the mobile phones. Fucking hell. This is just Mark Corrigan. It really is. Yeah, absolutely. Kev, who wrote this? This is fucking David Mitchell. Respected writer David fucking Mitchell.
Let's make it shorter for them. Nobody's perfect. Which means, we don't give anyone total power. Everyone makes mistakes, takes cowardly self-serving decisions now and again, worries about some people more than others. Democracy or not, that's true of all governments. The advantage that democracy gives us, and it is sumptuous compensation for the problems it causes, is the power to sack them.
And it's sumptuous compensation for you. Because regardless of who gets in, you stay rich. Regardless of who gets in, you still get to have your nice fucking, fancy fucking dinner parties in central London with all of your media friends, all of your rich media, well-connected friends. Because it doesn't matter if it's David Cameron or Red David Cameron. Either way, David Cameron gets in because that's adults in the room. And you get to stay rich forever. And anyone who disagrees with your system that made you rich is an idiot. And you are precisely the reason that this system is going to fail. You make it impossible not to. I need some angry bastards shouting at stuff.
Oh my god, this game is a tough watch. Watch it off the bar! Tap in!
Hey!
Yeah, it was coming. It was coming. And I tell you what the worry now is, KG.
I'm gonna have a quick look at the goalkeeper.
The worry now is that, I mean, us even getting close to scoring, I have no idea. And to be fair, I think you probably would have a look at Amarim and say, mate, you need to make subs earlier.
Oh, header! Oh my god, it's in the ball! It's in! Is it offside? Oh, please be offside. Bloody hell, man! Just he's so shit defending. It's like traffic cones in the box, man. It's an absolute piss take. What's so not?
So, as friends Rust, look, I could put on highlights of a different game, couldn't I? From the weekend, if you want. Would that be better for you?
They're doing as well. He's got to just
would that also be content, my friend?
Tip that over your bloody bar. You've got... Oh my god, it's just an absolute shit show all round. Absolute terrible. Crystal bloody Palace. The battle for bloody 12th position. Oh my god. Is it offside? Please let it be offside. Is it offside? No, it's not. Oh my god.
Ground ball's whipped into the box and he flicks it on off the bar. Oh, 1-0 set pieces just again. Mateta gets the tap in. They're complaining about something the Manchester United plays, but this is a clean goal unless it's offside. It's headed on, it loops onto the bar. I know that maybe should do better because it's looping. Try and get your hand of it, palm it over the bar, hits the bar, falls directly to Mateta, who has the easiest goal. Always 2 steps forward, 1 step back with this stuff. Every single time
I like this bloke.
We've turned a corner, always have to do something silly, and it's a set piece again.
Oh, they've hit the bar, and they've scored! It's 1-0.
Oh, no! It's the scary voice. No!
There we go. Somebody said it in the chat. Buy yourself a bloody Galaxy
I don't
ripple,
like it.
because you can treat yourself on that and shove it up your arse. You're right. 1-0. Mateta, Crystal Palace.
Shove it up your ass.
Manchester United predictably cannot catch a break. Cross comes in, header onto the bar.
Love it.
Are you looking at Anana? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my god, and we're down 1-0. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Mateta put...
Is Onana the worst keeper of all time? Not even close. I was privileged, I think to say. I watched one of the two games that Massimo Taibbi played for Manchester United. Just for the experience, my dad, who knew this woman who lives in Oldham anyway, she had 2 tickets going for a game once, right? And so my dad said, "Oh, do you want to go up and watch Man United play?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, that's amazing, right? Yeah, cool." I was about, 8 or something, 9, 10, whatever. David Beckham came off the bench. He was amazing. Anyway, against Wimbledon. This is how old it is. It was against a team that doesn't fucking exist anymore. 1-1. Massimo Taibbi let a goal go through his fucking legs. Most useless goalkeeper in the history of the world. Amazing. And I was like, I laughed, and because I didn't give a fuck, because I'm not a Man United fan. We were just there, like, we were just 2 random Brummies just in the fucking Man United end. And I laughed my bollocks off, and the Mancunians were not happy. I got some dirty looks that day. Anyway.
Puts Palace up 1-0. Rebounds off the crossbar, falls right to Mateta, and that's how we go down 1-0. Criminal. My God, man. It's actually a ridiculous ball from Eze.
Free kick now swung in. Oh, header. Oh, not. Oh, it's 1-0 to Palace. 1-0 to Palace. Mateta. Oh, is there a push in Lenny Oro's back here? I don't know. The free is just whipped in, and Onana's off his line by maybe a yard and a half, and the header loops over him, hits the crossbar, comes back down.
No, as friends Rust with the good correction, you know, they're actually the Cockneys were giving me dirty looks. Yeah, that's true.
There's the first one to react. Fucking shit, man. And it's 1-0 to Palace. Really
fair
poor.
Call.
Munoz, it's the crossbar, and Mateta scored. I'm fucking pissed. I am so fucking pissed. Nah, fuck this shit, bro. I knew Mateta was gonna come and haunt me. I can't believe this. I actually can't believe this. I knew it. It had to be Mateta as well. There's a lot of bitches have Mateta in their FPL as well. Fucking prick.
Fucking prick.
Still boring as hell.
I like this guy's sound gate. It makes him sound like a small man very far away when he's angry. I like that. Yeah, Crystal Palace are in South London, yes.
Shit.
Crystal Palace are in South London, yes.
Shit, fuck's sake. Onana's parried that out straight back into it.
The deflation is so fun. Honestly, when I started this, I thought Man United aren't going to lose that many games, so this will be like a once in a month. We'll do one of these compilations because they're not going to lose that. They've lost 5 out of the last 6 home games in the league. Like, what the fuck? What? Am I going to have to do this every fucking week? What about if they get relegated? Do I just follow them all the way down to the fucking championship, laughing at them? And I will. I fucking will.
Fuck off, man. You fuckers, man. You fuckers! Fuck off the lawyers, man!
This guy, I love this guy because this is my attitude to football. It's just like it's an oppression. This is an imposition on my existence. This is an aggravation that I don't fucking need. Okay? Why are you making my life harder? Okay, who's Birmingham City's main enemy? It's a club called Aston Villa. They're, I'm not sure they're human. Either way, they should be exterminated in Minecraft.
Mateta! Finished!
I should say that's our main rival, if you will. Yeah.
Why is this team
Local
What
rival.
is this team? Seriously. We're struggling at home to Crystal Palace. How?
I love that Man United fans are still such arrogant bastards that they feel like, oh, we're losing to Brighton or we're losing to Crystal Palace. You're a mid-table team, lads. Yeah. It's not like under Fergie. If they lost to Crystal Palace, that would be like whoa, what the fuck happened there? Shit, they shouldn't be losing to Crystal Palace. You're mid-table. You're fucking nobodies. What are you talking? Like it's a disgrace you're losing to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are a half-decent team. With this win, they literally jumped over you in the table. They're ahead of you now. You've got a big stadium, but it's falling to pieces. You've spent a lot on your fucking squad, and they're shite. You've still got fucking Maguire. You've still got Maguire at centre-half. Honestly, I'd play a fucking babby. I'd get a 16-year-old on there before I had Maguire. Got the turning circle of a fucking tank. Ridiculous. Slowest cunt I've ever fucking seen. Yeah, you should be losing to Crystal Palace. You're shit. You've got fucking Rasmus Højlund up front. And you've just let Rashford go to the scum. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like you can afford to just loan out England strikers and then lead the fucking Tottenham stealing and get your fucking loan striker. Just nicked it off you. And they're below you in the table. What the Tanks have neutral steering, bad example. You get the point I'm making. He's very slow on the turn. He's very, very slow and cumbersome, is the point. He has the turning circle of a bus. Are you happy?
Oh my God! I knew today was bad day, man. We're so shit, man. We're so shit. The midfield's rubbish. Can't defend. We can't attack. What are we?
Dog shit.
What are we? But not every little house with Manchester United's backline, because we're fucking shite, and we've just conceded. Crystal Palace make it 1-0, but then it gets on a rebound. It's a fucking charfest to the back defensively. Oh, fucking hell. Come on, you fucking bottle jobs. What's happened? The header's looped over towards the crossbar. Andre Onana, Mr. Flappy Bird, flubber hand extraordinaire himself. Of course he can't get that floppy hand anywhere near it because he's fucking shy. This flubber-handed mout's got to go. He's missed his fingertip. He's got to be tipping that over the bar. He's got to tip that over the bar. How's he not tipped it over the bar? He's even touched the fucking bar. He's touched. That's it. That's fucking it. He's touched the bar. If you touch the bar and the ball touches the bar, why the fuck are you not touching the ball? What's the matter with this? Seriously? How the fuck do you not tip that over the bar? He's even touched the bar himself. This guy's shite, but this flat-handed man...
But did the bar go over the line? No, it didn't. So it was actually a good save on the bar, when you think about it. The bar didn't go in. 1-0 Andre Onana.
It's cost us again!
Oh my days, 1-0, blood. Yo, that header was mad. What the hell happened? That header was mad. How did man loop a header from there, blood, onto the crossbar? Fuck yeah, no, bro. Bro, that header was mad. It was coming, though.
Oh my gosh. Whatever, man. Whatever, man. Hang on. It was coming. It was coming.
Why does this man look like old Kevin Durant? Well, this man looks like a 50-year-old Kevin Durant.
Man. Yeah, kind of. See, it was coming, man.
If anyone knows who Kevin Durant
is. This is going to be 2-0. This is it. It's done. I'm done. This is Crystal Palace. It's 2-0. We are shit. Crystal Palace are one of the few teams that are actually worse than us. In fact, no, they're not. No, they're not. There's only like 5 teams in the Premier League, if that are worse than us. We are terrible. We make teams that can't score goals look class. And we can't score goals against a bloody bunch of traffic cones. We've had 10 corners and we might as well kick it out for a goal kick. We are dog shit. We don't look a threat at all. We bring on Xerxes and Højlund. We might as well brought on bloody 2 bloody lumps of turd because that's the effect that they've had on the game.
They're in. through on goal, cuts it back, and in the back of the net. There you go.
That's a man whose soul has died. This man's soul died. There's no anger. It's just hollow. He's just empty. You killed him, Manchester United. You killed this man. You killed his hope and his dreams.
Just,
He doesn't.
that's what we are.
Can't even fucking speak.
Absolutely.
The natural sleeping. The fucking pass to him was. How would you pass that to? What was that? I'm there in now. Oh.
I love West Ham's song. Sean, I absolutely love it. I mean, I don't like West Ham as a team because fuck them. But the I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles is an amazing tune. I'll get the lyrics up, right? Amazing song. Imagine this, like most songs, like sporting events are like something along the lines of "We're fucking awesome." Everyone else can go fuck themselves, you bunch of pricks. We're fucking awesome. We're gonna win. Fuck you, right? It's that attitude. No, not West Ham. I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles. Lyrics. Boom. Right. Listen to this for lyrics. Fucking mental, right? I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky, then like my dreams, they fade and die. I'm going to read that again. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky, then like my dreams, they fade and die. Fortune's always hiding, I've looked everywhere. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. Do we need to do a wellness check? Can we get some social security people around? Just check you're okay, because that's honestly, I feel like you're going to start self-harming or something. What the fuck? It's fucking mental.
Oh my god! We're finished. Finished! End the season now! End it now! End it! End the season now! It's over, man. It's over. Bottle jobs, man. Palace. How can our bogey team be Palace? How can our bogey team be Palace? Everyone's our bogey team.
Oh, Palace are in.
I was about to say, didn't Brighton do the double this season? Like, chill.
Palace are in. Square ball, 2-0. Does the offside flag go up? It doesn't. It's 2-0 to Palace. Slice apart, giving the ball away. Deserved. Goal deserved by Palace, you'd have to say. They've been the better team in the second half here. And they have had 2 chances in the whole game. 3 maybe. And they scored 2 goals. That's the difference. That's the difference.
The ball's played in behind his offside, surely. Surely. Plays it across. Macheta buries it, but it must be offside. It's not given as offside so far, man. It's 2-0 to Crystal Palace. Surely he's offside. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Damn it, for God's sake. He's celebrating the goal like he knows he's onside. 2-0. Shocking.
2-0. Oh, I wasn't even looking. I was looking at whether Rob...
Okay, that's fucking mental. Did you time? Well, there's no way you could have timed that, surely. So we've just had Mark Goldbridge interrupting Mark Goldbridge, as you do. Thank you, James Holmes. Only passing an interesting football, but love these. Thank you very much, James. I appreciate the money. Not the interaction. Again, I don't need people around me. I don't, just. But the money is nice. And if you want to pay me money and for me to insult you, I guess, you can become a member. You can become a sub. You can do bits messages, super chats, all of that kind of jazz. You can. I believe in you.
Bobby predicted a Palace win, and thank God he didn't. But it's 2-0 to Palace, and there you go. Defensively, absolutely shit again. About as useful as my cat's litter tray, and that's full of shit as well. Absolutely terrible.
Honestly. Oh fuck! Okay, stop it. It's mental. Stop it. Anyway, He really is the best, like, partridge. You can buy... What was the one earlier? You can buy a curly whirly and stick it up your arse. Genius. And then that one... What did he just... I've totally forgotten what he fucking said.
Cat's litter tray, and that's full of shit as well.
It's as useful as my cat's litter tray, and that's full of shit as well. What the fuck are you talking about? Thank you, Grumpy Queer. Spend it now before America goes Weimar Republic. Yeah. No, I will, thank you. But, look at it this way. During the Weimar Republic, inflation got so bad they started using paper money as wallpaper. Who doesn't want greenback wallpaper? Just say. Look at the positives, yeah? Not saying hyperinflation's good. I'm saying look for the silver linings. Positive. Having spent an hour screaming about liberals.
Absolutely terrible. What a bunch of mugs. Fucking hell, lads. What an absolute bunch of twats. Red Army, you going to tell me Maguire's had a good game now? Or are you going to actually tell the fucking truth? Like a cat litter tray full of shit. You know that stuff you put in a cat litter tray that they shit on? Just give me a brand from that.
Okay, but that is useful. This is what I mean. It's just partridge. Because, like, as useful as a cat litter tray. But cat litter tray is useful. It means the cats don't shit on your carpet as much. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is useful. Now, you could say the line that you could have used, which would have been funny, which it would have been like, they're like my cat's litter tray, full of shit. Or something like that. That works.
FC Manchester United. Absolute shit.
Another opportunity, look at this. 2-0 to Manchester, Frishkin, Crystal Palace. That fucking...
Here you go. Small man far away. Love it. That noise gate fucks him up, man.
This team is shit.
Fuck's sake. I think he's onside as well. 2-0, Mateta. Game over.
Oh my god! They fed it in behind, they got a free charge! Tap in for Palace and they have done! It's 2-0 to Crystal fucking Palace in the 88th minute! I don't believe one!
Okay, Crystal Palace is pretty funny.
Seeing and witnessing United crumble jumping in Peach Stadium like they're some fucking Southampton side, relegation cup side, at home, getting done up at Old Trafford, bullshitting Crystal Palace! Mate, if only Eric Cantona was in this team to not only score some fucking goals, lead some fucking players, and kick some motherfucking Palace fans in the face! Oh, I have to do it! Taking the piss! Goodness me! You fucking absolute complete fucking calamities! You fucking complete shark bags! You sharters! You fucking sharters! Can't believe it! Absolutely slept! We've been slept to the back there! You sleepy fucking Frankenstein's monster! Mishmash of different human body parts melt, Slabo Maguire! We got the fucking Bride of Frankenstein Bear versus in the back! And of course Mr. Flappy Bird Andre Nana! He can't get anywhere near it because he's fucking shite! Anticipation of a loving!
That's a great ball to Munoz. Munoz is not through on goal.
You gotta love a flying kick as a reaction from a grown adult.
Munoz passes it, Mateta scores. It's done. Yeah, done. Go next. Go next. Go next. Go next. Fuck it. Fuck this shit. Yeah, we're walking.
You can't go. You can't sim it. This isn't FIFA. You can't just sim through the rest of the game. No. You have to soak in the hatred.
It has to be offside. Surely it's offside.
Like those wankers that leave early. If you fucking leave the game early, unless like your wife is giving birth or some shit, okay, fine, whatever. But if you leave because you want to avoid the traffic, get fucked. Get fucked. Get fucked right into the sun. Prick.
If this is not offside, I don't know what's gonna happen. Munoz looked miles offside, by the way, miles offside. We are so cooked. How is it 2-0 to Palace?
Again, Man United, you ain't all that, man. This ain't 2003 anymore, bruv. You're not that fucking good that you can be like, oh, why are we even losing to fucking Palace? But you're on Palace's level. This was a mid-table 6-pointer. This was a just above the relegation battle 6-pointer. That's where you're at.
It's done.
2-0. Fucking hell, bro. Oh my days, bro.
Oh, well, this is going to be 2. Easy 2 right here. Sweats it. Yeah, Mateta's got 2. We suck. So done with this shit. Why? I wake up at 5 a.m. to watch this. This shit. Should have just stayed asleep.
True.
There's the final whistle! There's the fucking final whistle! Manchester United have been tucked up 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace. They've got the old proverbial glass phallus out and used it. It's been real bad. Real bad day at the office for our Manchester United. Fucking horrendous, embarrassing, pitiful, gastastic, wanky. Just horrendous. The worst guff you're likely to ever see, really. Just right up there with all the guff bag performances you could imagine from United in recent years. Fucking shite.
Yeah, this is a proper football fan. This is the level you got to be on, okay? If you're not bringing this kind of energy, don't fucking bother. Hearts are shite. Hibs fan who had a stroke uses his first words in 3 months to abuse a rival team. Honestly, genuinely, bravo. That is fucking beautiful. That is fucking beautiful. His first words in fucking 3 months. Oh, yes. I fucking love it. What a legend. What an absolute fucking king. We salute. Salutes in chat, people.
Defensively, disorganised, all disarray. Slow, complete melt to the back like Slabbo Maguire. It's a fucking abomination! Manchester United done up at home 2-0 to Palace! You can't write it, can you? Goodness me. What a bunch of fucking letdowns.
It's an abomination! Anyway.
The return of the sausages.
I said salutes in
Just
chat,
a golf
motherfucker.
version. Nice way to end stream. Brother is Green's number 10.
I'm not playing a fucking Sunday League. No. Kieran, God bless you. Thank you for the biddy bits. I genuinely appreciate that. I am not playing a random bit of Sunday League football on the fucking stream. I'll be honest with you. I am pushing the self-indulgent envelope by paying that load of old wank for weeks on end because they keep fucking losing. And I keep thinking, well, they'll win this week. And they don't. So I feel like I have to just keep going with it, you know? So I was talking to you, LHS, earlier, and she was saying in the Discord, in a public channel, that they had people on the phone crying from different organisations in Africa because the security had been withdrawn from their organisation because of the US aid situation. Someone got attacked as a result. I don't really know what that sort of means. Someone got attacked for what? Lesbian hot sauce. Okay, right, I got that bit. But like, who is? And by the way, everyone go and follow Lesbian hot sauce, who is awesome. USAID, and someone got attacked because I don't know. I'm confused, non-binary, and I'm not sure it's. Well, it's always relevant, I guess, but look, it's not something I'm talking about. Oh, they work as an aid worker, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kieran, for biddy bits. Much love to you. Yes, anyway, PMQs, let's go. I mean, I usually would start with this whilst the UK people are still here, but fuck it. We're doing PMQs. That's just the way it is. Do-do-doom, do-do-doom, do-do-doom. Some things will never change.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Dr. Neil Hudson.
Rare an opposition MP gets to kick it off.
Question number 1, Mr. Speaker.
Brilliant. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the whole House will be appalled by the death of a young boy in Sheffield on Monday. Our hearts go out to his family and his loved ones. Knife crime blights our communities, and we redouble every step.
Oh, they work in an LGBT... Oh, okay, I'm with you. Okay. Well, that's fucked up then, yeah. That's really messed up. I don't know what... I don't even know what to do about it. Oh my God, what the fuck is wrong? See, like, this is what I mean, Elliot, right? This is not on you, but like, if this is the best bit about AI, if this is the bit that's worthwhile and useful, stop it. We're literally frying the planet. We've gone, okay, global warming's happening, right? Let's fast forward that so that people can create slop. So that Tony Blair can masturbate furiously because reasons, and slop. Lovely tits on her though, gotta say. And Kamala. Ew.
To ensure that young people are kept safe. Mr. Speaker, on Monday I met other European leaders in Brussels to discuss vitally important focus on security and defence in a volatile world. I'm determined to reduce barriers to trade, making it easier for businesses to do business, and ensuring a better relationship with our European partners delivers for the British people. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others in addition to my duties in this House. I shall have further such meetings later today.
Dr. Neil Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sadly, suicide is the biggest killer of young people under 35.
And unfortunately, so few Tory MPs are under 35. It's a shame. Including Mark Francois. It's a shame he's not under 35, you know? Just saying.
Andy Airy, Tim Owen and Mike Palmer are the three dads walking. They each tragically lost their precious daughters, Sophie, Emily and Beth, to suicide. And they have campaigned tirelessly for suicide prevention to be included in the school curriculum in an age-appropriate way. We met with the previous Prime Minister in Downing Street, and suicide prevention was added to the RSHE curriculum guidance for consultation last year. I know the Prime Minister has met the three dads and supports their campaign, but sadly progress has stalled. Please, would the Prime Minister meet with me and the three dads so that we can finally get this over the line and ultimately save...
The third time you've watched... Who were the first two times that you watched it? Well, presumably one was No Justice, right? So who was the other person?
Young lives.
Minister. Well, can I thank him for steadfastly raising this really important issue, particularly during Children's Mental Health Week. I have met the three dads walking. They're inspirational. Their courage is extraordinary. And as the father of young children, I don't know how they're able to campaign in the way that they do. I'm not sure I would be able to do so. So, of course, I can assure him that I will meet them again and push this agenda, really important agenda, forward.
Yes. See, now, I'd feel a lot more generous to Keir Starmer about his commitment to dealing with mental health if he hadn't announced this week that they're going to be cutting mental health benefit spending. Basically kicking people who are mentally ill off of the ability to pay for their food and stuff, which I would imagine would make it more likely they'd commit suicide. Wouldn't that care, you know? Just saying. First time live. Oh, yeah, of course you watched it your own. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Everyone go and follow Madcap, by the way. He was awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 86% of trains at Kersley Station in my constituency were delayed or cancelled in the past 12 weeks, and this is widespread throughout the Bolton South and Walkden. My constituent Sophie, who commutes from Walkden to Manchester, recently told me almost every day at least one peak time train is cancelled, and when the train finally turns up, it's overcrowded. Recently, she was stranded for hours after constant cancellations because the train crew were unavailable. Can the Prime Minister ensure my constituents that this government is committed to building reliable railways after 14 years of Tory chaos?
Yeah. Well, my honourable friend is right to highlight that the party opposite left our railways in a terrible state. 2 years of strikes costing our economy £850 million in lost revenue. You can't grow the economy if you can't run the railways. We will launch Great British Railways to focus relentlessly on passenger.
Is it just me, or does Pat McFadden very much look like Heinrich Himmler? He does, right? He looks like Heinrich Himmler. He does, right? You can see it. He does look like him. For reals is. I'd never noticed that before. Chinless prick.
And to clamp down on delays and cancellation. And I'm pleased, Mr. Speaker, that Northern have announced the largest ever investment in its fleet to deliver 450 new trains, meaning more comfortable, reliable journeys for her constituents.
Leader of the opposition, Kemi Bergenot.
Mr. Speaker, when Labour negotiates, our country loses.
Get ready to hear that sentence a lot more, because they're going to try and make it a thing.
Yesterday, we heard the government offered £18 billion for Mauritius to take our territory in the Chagos Islands. This is money that belongs to our children and their children. This is an immoral surrender, so North London lawyers can boast at their dinner parties. Mr. Speaker,
Sean, it's always worth a 707.
when Labour negotiates, we all lose. Sometimes they don't even bother. Why did the Energy Secretary withdraw government lawyers from defending the case against the eco-nutters who want to obstruct Rosebank's oil and gas fields?
Eco-nutters. You know, people who don't want us all to die? Yeah, eco-nutters. Very parliamentary language as well. You can't call someone a stool pigeon, you can call them eco-nutters. Adults in the room, everybody.
Mr. Speaker, let me deal with the serious issue she raises in relation to the Chagos case. This is a military base that is vital to our national security and to national security. A number of years ago, the legal certainty of that base was thrown into doubt. And let me, Mr. Speaker, let me be clear, and I'll pick my words carefully. Without legal certainty,
over not actual PPE to your party's mates, Kemi.
Yeah, there's that as well.
the
Thank you, Kieran.
base cannot operate in practical terms as it should. That is bad for our national security, and it's a gift to our adversaries. Now, some within the party opposite know exactly what I'm talking about. That is why, Mr. Speaker, that is why the last government started negotiations about sovereignty and about securing the long-term use of the base. Mr. Speaker, they were right to do so. That's why the last government conducted 11 of the 13 rounds of those negotiations. And Mr.
It's a fair point. You did do most of the negotiating, lads. Just saying. Black Rose PCs, how dare you? No, they don't just flap their gums. No. Sometimes they sell off national infrastructure below its actual worth and screw over the taxpayer. So... And as we heard from David from David Mitchell earlier, if you disagree with the running of the democracy in any way whatsoever, you're a moron. Cool.
Speaker, they were right to do so. That is why this government has completed that process, and we were right to do so. Mr. Speaker, I will set out the details when they're finalised, and it will of course be presented to Parliament. But if the Leader of the Opposition is properly briefed on the national security implications when she's asking these questions, which she's perfectly entitled to do, then she knows exactly what I'm talking about in terms of national security and legal certainty. If, on the other hand, she's not properly briefed on the national security implications, she's not doing her job, she's not concerned about national security, and she's not fit to be Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, how can anyone believe that this man is defending UK interests when he bends the knee to anyone who asks him? His answer was so weak and so waffly, it is no wonder he needs a voice coach.
He did have a voice coach because he's so fucking ineffective as a communicator. But like, this, honestly, this is two of the most rizless motherfuckers standing across from each other going, you got no riz. No, you got no riz. No, you got no riz. It's just, it's endless. Two of the most obviously incapable, whatever, people for their positions. And yet they're the leaders of the two major parties. For now.
But he didn't answer the question I asked him, why the Energy Secretary was not defending our country. The Energy and Environment Secretaries received nearly £400,000 worth of donations from Lisbeth Rousing. It's her money behind the court case that will stop an £8 billion investment, threaten thousands of jobs, and endanger energy security for all of us. Did the Energy Secretary...
Do you really want to play the game of dodgy donations? Because, like, neither of you win that fight. You're both up to your ears in dodgy, fucked up, dark money. You're both corrupt scum. But they only ever point it out if it's people who support the environment or trade unions. Whereas they definitely don't mention it when it's, you know, Russian oligarchs and things like that. I wonder why.
Refused to defend UK interests because he's funded by billionaire eco-zealots.
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'll come to that very issue, but I noticed she didn't say that she was briefed about the Chagos issue. This is important. Mr. Speaker, when she became leader of the opposition, I said to her that I would give her a briefing on any national security issue if she asked for it. That's very important to the way that we run our democracy. She has not asked.
Yeah, these two really are the worst, Sean, yeah. These two really are the worst. Because whilst they're like shouting nonsense at each other about eco-zealots and adults in the room and all this shit, Reform are hoovering up the votes. Because they're actually talking about things that people care about to an extent. And they're seen as not being these two corrupt bastards. Even though, he's just as corrupt. In the same way that Trump trying to portray himself as a populist wasn't true. But he gets to portray himself as that because the other side are corporate. So they get to pretend. They get to wear the veneer. The costume. They get to cosplay as man of the people. Embarrassing.
For a briefing on the Chagos case. And that's because she's more interested in chasing reform than in national security. In relation to oil and gas, it'll be part of our energy supply for many years to come. We've been absolutely clear about that. But we are going through a transition. It's important because that transition...
don't mention transition. Kemi, you know that's a trigger word for Kemi. Transition will make her see red.
To renewable energy will give us lower bills, energy security, take Putin's foot off our throat, and it's good for the national interest.
Kemi Bennell, why are you
Mr. Speaker, this is a weak answer because he doesn't know what is going on. Last week, I asked about the employment bill. He didn't know what was going on. We asked about the education bill. He didn't know what was going on. Let me tell him what is going on. Maybe he can answer some questions. Shell has said a one-year delay to Rosebank will cost £350 million and the loss of 1,000 jobs.
Wow, I wonder if Shell have a vested interest. And maybe they can't be trusted, and I don't care. It's literally a fucking oil company. I would terms of service them before I listen to them.
Equinor has said a 2-year delay to Jackdaw will cost £800 million. The only benefit I can see is the £400,000 to Labour ministers. At a time of war in Europe, threatened energy security, increased competition from the US and elsewhere, we should be getting British oil and gas out of the ground. Does the Prime Minister have the guts to take on Labour donors and his energy secretary and approve the licence applications when they are resubmitted?
Prime Minister. Speaker, she doesn't even want to know what's going on, otherwise she'd have asked for the relevant briefing. She knows the position on Rosebank. She knows the court case that has meant that the licence has got to be reviewed. There's a process that's got to be gone through in the proper way. She understands that, but yet again she's proving all she can do is student politics and playing party politics.
Student politics! Oh, the student politics. Fucking hell. Honestly, they're going to adults in the room us into fascism. They're literally just going to go adults in the room, adults in the room, adults in the room. Oh, Hitler's in charge. Brilliant.
Mr. Speaker, I am speaking on behalf of the people
Do not trust the Liberals. They will betray you.
of this country. When Labour negotiates, our country loses. When Labour negotiates, our country loses. He's talking about bringing growth and investment. Last week, he lost a £450 million investment from AstraZeneca that we negotiated, Mr. Speaker, and which would have delivered growth immediately. That same day, he also lost the £8 billion oil field investment that would have delivered next year. Business is abandoning the North Sea because of his decisions. What signal does he think he is?
Ah, that's not at all what I meant to do. How have I managed to fuck it up? There we go.
Just.
It's ridiculous having to copy all this by hand. We should have it printed.
We could get help from one of the groups in the Liberal movement.
No. Don't trust the Liberals. They will betray you.
Then I'll ask Lydia.
Fact.
Sending to investors.
Patrick Stewart wouldn't lie to us.
As she knows, AstraZeneca was a commercial decision. She must understand that. But, Mr. Speaker, all she does is come here every week, carping from the sidelines, talking our country down. We've got the highest investment.
Talking our country down. I love it. Oh, every government does this. Any criticism of the government is talking the country down. Shut the fuck up.
For 19 years. PwC say the second best place to invest in the world. The IMF has upgraded growth. Wages are up. Inflation is down. There's more to do. Reforming planning and regulation. Building new homes. Supporting a runway, the third runway at Heathrow. What unites these? Championed by Labour, opposed by the Tories.
Mr. Speaker, it's so hard to believe anything he says. This is a man who needed emergency voice coaching on Christmas Eve. This government is so clueless. It is borrowing £8 billion.
You're really going to do this, the two voice coach jibes? This is fucking desperate.
It is so clueless. It is borrowing £8
No wonder they're third in the polls. Fucking awful.
billion for GB Energy. A vanity project that is not great, not British, and does not produce any energy. Its own chairman, Mr. Speaker, admitted it will take 20 years to create just 1,000 jobs. Meanwhile, 200,000 jobs are at stake in our oil and gas sector right now. Does he think that 1,000 jobs in 20 years' time are worth more than the 200,000 jobs we have now?
Prime Minister.
Again, she clearly hasn't been briefed or doesn't want to be briefed. GB Energy, a publicly owned energy company that will drive the move to renewables. That is not about the number of jobs in HQ, it's about the thousands upon thousands of jobs they will generate to give us energy security, something we didn't have under the last government, take Putin's boot off our throat, something we didn't have under the last government. They lost control of the economy, we're getting it back.
He can waffle as long as he likes, Mr. Speaker. But we know that Labour...
Honestly, it is beginning to feel a little bit Weimar. It's beginning to feel a little bit Weimar. Just ineffective, useless, self-serving wankers fighting bit by bit to undermine people's confidence in democracy to the point where they'll turn to the alternative. Welcome to your fair system, David.
To bring energy bills down by £300. Instead, bills are going up. He's freezing pensioners while shoveling money to Mauritius. The Prime Minister isn't just managing decline, Mr. Speaker, he is creating decline. He has the power to grant these licenses, open these oil and gas fields, save British jobs, and bring down bills. Why does he find it so hard to do the...
Yeah, the Putin's boot on your throat thing does feel a little bit kink adjacent, you know?
Right thing.
Right. She really needs to look into how these licences are granted.
I'll play that again for you. We'll just go back a few seconds. Listen to the reaction from the grown-up adults, the very serious politicians and the mother of all parliaments.
Really needs to look into how these licences are granted.
Democracy doesn't die with a bang, it doesn't die with a whimper, it dies with a...
I appreciate that their reset seems to be having no policies apart from cutting pensions and having no briefings on relevant issues. Let's just remind ourselves, they presided over the biggest drop in living standards on record. Mortgages went through the roof and they left a £22 billion black hole.
What do you mean, no audio? Is that just... Is anyone else getting no audio? It's showing up as audio on my end. Anyone else? If it's just... Well, I mean, I can explain to Brody, but they won't be able to fucking hear me. If you just refresh your page... You muted the whole time? What are you talking about? Did I? Did anyone else have that problem? I have audio. I heard you. I hear you, Kev. You're fine. I'm hearing you. So it's just Brody then? Okay, I'll do the bit again. I'll do the bit again for Brody, right?
Really needs to look into how these licences are granted.
Democracy doesn't die with a bang. It doesn't die with a whimper. It dies with a...
I appreciate that their reset seems to be having no policies apart from cutting pensions and having no briefings on relevant issues. Let's just remind ourselves, they presided over the biggest drop in living standards on record. Mortgages went through the roof and they left a £22 billion black hole.
Oh, take a drink, everyone. There we go. We got ourselves a cheeky bingo. 22 billion. When you know what they say about the second death? So, obviously a person dies, so that's their first death. And then the second death is the last time anyone ever mentions you. So the last time you were ever, like, a part of a conversation, last time you were ever relevant. After your death, right? I wonder when the second death of the 22 billion will occur. When will be the last time that any of these wankers stop using the $22 billion pound black hole as their excuse for doing all of the shit things that they want to do? All of the evil, penny-pinching, miserly, poverty-increasing shithouse things. It's a while off yet. It's not anytime soon, but at some point they will stop mentioning this. When they've created a £23 billion hole, perhaps, I don't know.
Learned last weekend, Mr. Speaker, that under the last government, £35 billion was lost on benefit fraud and error. Who was at the Treasury at the time, you might ask, Mr. Speaker?
Why do we talk about the tiny amount lost in benefit fraud, not the many orders of magnitude more in tax evasion and tax avoidance? Ever. That's the fair system, David.
Shadow Business Secretary.
David Mitchell, I've decided, has become the new Ralph Fiennes, i.e. a smug liberal prick who I'm going to rub it in their face every time something is, every time I need a whipping boy, it's now David Mitchell. His smug liberal attitude has pissed me off to the point of a genuine grievance.
And the leader of the opposition. They want to give lectures. No thanks.
And wage theft. Yeah, good point.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The honourable member for Clacton says that his party is, and I quote, open to anything.
So that would be Nigel Farage. Although I wonder if Nigel Farage knows he's the MP for Clacton. I don't think he knows where that is.
Open to anything when it comes to changing our NHS and open to an insurance-based system. So can my right honourable friend confirm that under a Labour government, the NHS will be there for everyone when they need it, absolutely not having to worry about the bill?
Well, Mr. Speaker, the NHS is the lifeblood of our...
Well, there is a serious point there that Nigel Farage does want to privatise the NHS. But that had all of the enthusiasm and force of a 90-year-old man coming. Like like talcum powder out of a bottle. Poof.
Country, and that's why we invested £25 billion at the budget, a record amount, and we're making it fit for the future through our plan for change. What a contrast with Reform, whose leader has said that those who can afford to pay should pay for our healthcare. Under Labour, the NHS will always be free at the point of use for anyone who needs it.
Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Sir Ed Davey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself with the remarks of the Prime Minister about the terrible murder of the 15-year-old in Sheffield and say that we will support any effective action against...
The only thing I care about with Ed Davey is the fact that he's still doing this. Day 73 of Ed Davey asking Keir Starmer to 1v1 him on FIFA. Brilliant. I love democracy.
Knife crime that the government proposes. At his first Prime Minister's questions, I told the Prime Minister about my constituent Andrea. A full-time carer for her mother, Andrea is one of thousands of carers caught up in the carers allowance scandal, hounded by the DWP for repayments. The Prime Minister accepted there was a problem and set up an independent review, and we welcomed that. But 2 months after the announcement...
We're such a shit democracy, we don't even have a place big enough where MPs don't have to sit on the floor if it's full. They don't even have a seat each.
She received a letter summoning her to a tribunal next week. Her mother's health has been deteriorating. She's had to go in a care home. This is the last thing Andrea needs. So will the Prime Minister step in and do the right thing and cancel Andrea's tribunal and all proceedings against carers like Andrea, at least until the review is concluded?
Prime Minister.
Oh, thank you very much, Katie. Katie Marshall gifting 10 memberships on the YouTubes. Much love to you. God bless. Although, again, we will turn the noise off because we don't need to hear that 10 times. But thank you very much. Much love to you. Parliament is old and outdated. True, that are they still planning to decant from Parliament at some point? Because, for those who don't know, the actual Parliament building is very, very old. Even the newer bits of it are very, very old and crumbling and shit. There are regularly small fires that break out because the electrics are terrible. Not all of the MPs, in fact very few of the MPs, have their own office. They often share. They can't all sit there. It's all of that shit, right? It's an awful old building. It's lovely to look at. It's not a practical place for a modern Parliament. So what they're going to do is they're going to upgrade and extend and blah, 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 blah. But whilst that work's ongoing, you can't really do Parliament there. So they're going to decant to like a different building, so some office place in London somewhere, whilst all of that goes on, and then go back there afterwards. And I can't remember when they're going to do that. At some point in the next 10 years or something, they're going to start that. So yeah. And then hopefully Parliament won't be shit anymore. At least functional-wise, you know. They'll have maybe they'll have their own chairs. Imagine that. Maybe they'll have electronic voting. Maybe it won't be a fucking joke. No, let's not go too far. Oh, pardon me. Thank you to Jake W9 for subscribing with Prime. New subscriber Reno. Much love to you. I didn't think it was still called FIFA. I don't believe it is. But you can still play the old FIFA games. I still occasionally play the old FIFA games. So you can still if Keir Starmer wanted to, he could make Ed Davies' day by simply one-on-oneing him in FIFA 17 or whatever. If he wanted to. But he doesn't. And that just gives you a measure of the man. He's a fucking monster.
Mr. Speaker, we set up the independent review, and I know he welcomes that and was the right thing to do. I don't know the details of Andrea's case, but I will certainly, if he provides them to me, make sure that we have the details and look into what's happened in her particular case.
Sir Ed David.
I'm grateful for that reply.
And if someone does bits or a subscription, we get onto a hype train, which would be dope. Yeah, look, the Right Honourable Jenny isn't there today. That's the name of the dog that's most of the time there, but for some reason they're not there today. I hope that the Member of Parliament is okay. Mainly just so I can see the dog. I just want to see the dog. If I'm entirely honest about it.
The Secretary of State for DWP wrote to me and wasn't interested in engaging, so I hope the Prime Minister will. Mr. Speaker, turning to foreign policy now. Last night, many of us were alarmed to hear President Trump speak about forcibly displacing 1.8 million people from Gaza. The Prime Minister has spoken to the President on several occasions now. Does he personally believe that Trump recognises the dangers of statements like this to the fragile ceasefire in Gaza, and indeed to the security of both Palestinians and Israelis? I'm glad that the Foreign Secretary has confirmed that the government's position is still a two-state solution. I think that...
The thing is, the two-state solution becomes less and less viable by the day. Like, literally, it's not viable already because they're already not going to give East Jerusalem as a capital. So it's not a two-state... So the two-state solution is impossible under the current circumstances. Even with the reduced fucking borders and all the rest of it, like, it's just not possible. It's not sensible to even suggest it at this point. Which leaves us in something of a limbo, because there isn't going to be a fucking one state unless it's just Israel and that's it. So we're a bit fucked, I think. But the fact that, like, Trump can just say that shit and no world leaders is going to call him on it because they're fucking cowards. Absolute sackless fucking coward bastards. It's pretty embarrassing. Although fair play to Ed Davey for at least asking the question. Keir Starmer is going to deliberately ignore it and not answer it, but, you know, he did the job of an opposition MP, trying to hold the government's feet to the fire on this. Okay, I will give you a point there. And you didn't have to do it whilst doing a trapeze walk or fucking abseiling or something. You did it just standing there in Parliament. Well done. Thank you, Plexican, with 1,000 bits. Much love to you. We're on a hype train, everybody. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will... who will I finger? You know what? I haven't fingered Hitler in a long time. I feel like I need to finger Hitler a lot more. Feel free to clip that out of context, because what context makes that okay as a sentence? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I will finger Hitler if we get to level 2 of the hype train. So bits and subs. It's the way to go. Now, you may say to yourself, well, we know what happened to his corpse, and it was burned and then scattered in the river in the 1970s. To which I say, I will go and finger that river. That's just going to have to be the best I can do. Exactly, I did say I haven't fingered Hitler in a long time. That's the thing I said. Not even out of context. It's not even out of... It's just a thing I said. Yeah. 8DX-Man. Any solution to or one state is only possible if the US forces Israel's hand, and if the US did, they could easily force Israel to accept 2 states. They could do, but they won't do. Was 2 states ever really viable, with there being no possibility of a contiguous Palestine? Well, you can have... When you say the contiguous Palestine, I mean, I think that bit sort of is negotiable, in the sense that you don't necessarily have to have 2 physically joined bits. You can have exclaves, can't you? There are loads of countries that have exclaves. So as long as you had, let's say, like a railway with sovereignty and legal jurisdiction over, that would connect the 2 or something like that, or an air corridor or something like that. So you could do something like that and make it vaguely workable. That's a thing that you can do. But they, Israel has no interest in doing this. We know that. We know Israel's not going to fucking do it. So it's sort of pie in the sky, really, at this point. Thank you, Wayward Historian, with Bitty Bits. Much fucking love to you. Thank you, Stossel Snake, with 200 bits, who says, hang on, that might be read out.
The return of the sausages.
It's still funny,
the
isn't it?
river was the innocent party there. Hitler, fair enough. The river deserves to be unfingered, I'd say.
Well, what else do I do? How would one... Okay, here's a quandary for you then. If one... And why a person would want to do this, I don't know. But if someone were in the mood, if someone was of the mind to want to finger Hitler at this point, how would one go about it? Considering that the river / sea into which it flows are, as you say, innocent bystanders in all of this. They did no fascism. They are bodies of water. How could they possibly? How would one go about fingering them in this situation then? And don't say it's impossible, because as we know, Newton's 69th law of thermodynamics states that all things are fingerable. All of them. Everything that can exist can be fingered. Okay? So how would one go about fingering Hitler? Riddle me that, motherfuckers.
Has support on all sides of the House. But will he reassure the House that this position and our concerns on these dangerous statements from the President will be communicated to the White House directly and firmly?
Yeah. Minister. Well, Mr. Speaker, you raised a very important issue. The most important issue on the ceasefire is obviously it's sustained. We see it through the phases, and that means that the remaining hostages come out and the aid that's desperately needed.
Gonna mention Trump at any point, you fucking pathetic piece of shit, you spineless gimp? You're gonna mention? Because he's literally asked you, like, Trump wanted to do some ethnic cleansing. What do you think about that? You going to ignore that? Of course you are. You bollockless bastard.
Gets into Gaza at speed and at the volumes that are needed. I have, from the last few weeks, two images fixed in my mind. The first is the image of Emily Damari reunited with her mother, which I found extremely moving. The second was the image of thousands of Palestinians walking, literally walking through the rubble to try to find their homes and their communities in Gaza. They must be allowed home. They must be allowed to rebuild, and we should be with them in that rebuild on the way to a two-state solution.
Patricia Ferguson.
Fucking spineless, useless, pathetic wanker. Honest to God. Katie Marshall asks the incredibly important question, well, Kev, what happened to Hess? Rudolf Hess, technically his life and my life overlapped by about 3 months. Rudolf Hess, former deputy leader of the Nazi Party, flew to England, well, technically Scotland, I think it was, wasn't it? Britain, whatever, in 1941, 40, whatever. Anyway, was a prisoner of war, then went on trial at Nuremberg, should have been executed because they all should have been, but received a prison sentence, and so he was the sole prisoner from 1955 to 87 of Spandau prison, costing millions and millions of pounds, rubles, francs and dollars between the four occupation powers, who took it on a monthly rota to guard him until 1987, and then he committed suicide. Possibly because he received a positive cancer test and didn't want to die of cancer. So that's what happened to Rudolf Hess. Can we get some lols in chat for Hess being dead? I'm not fingering him though. I'm fingering Hitler. Okay, we're going for the big dog tonight. I visited Spandau last November. Well, you will have noticed that the prison no longer exists. As friends Russ, they tore it down so that it wouldn't become a shrine or whatever. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The announcement of a third runway at Heathrow is obviously a massive boost to growth in the economy. Does my right honourable friend agree with me that it is important that the economic boost is spread around the UK? And will he therefore agree to ask the relevant minister to meet with me and other Glasgow MPs and with the Chamber of Commerce?
Also, thank you, Celsius Knight, for the bits. Thank you, everyone, for the hype train. That was fucking dope. Much love.
To discuss the possibility of a new supply chain hub.
There's a supermarket on the former grounds. Is it called? Oh, please say it's called Hesco's. Every little helps. Come on, that would be amazing. You have to, if you're going to build a shopping centre on top of Spandau, you have to call it Hesco's. You have to do it. It's too funny historically not to do. It's deeply offensive. Absolutely. It's also funny as fuck. Okay? Don't even start with me. Like, I've thought about this before. If you had a footballer called Mambo and you didn't give him the number 5 to wear on his shirt, you've fucking lost the plot. You've lost the plot. You don't know what you're fucking doing. Fact.
Being created in the city where materials for Heathrow's expansion could be reassembled.
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, she's right. The new runway at Heathrow can boost economic growth across the whole of the country. It would boost the economy by billions and create over 100,000 jobs across the UK, with 60% of the economic benefits outside London and the South East. It is, Mr. Speaker, good for Scottish passengers and Scottish businesses, particularly Scottish salmon, which is the #1 export passing through Heathrow, worth £970 million over the last 5 years. I'll obviously happily make sure that she gets...
Yeah, they should have give Harry Winks the number 50. 50 Winks, yeah. Absolutely. Idiots. It's a marketing dream.
It's a meeting with the relevant minister.
Nigel Farage.
Oh, talking of Rudolf Hess.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If I could assure the honourable member for Rugby
that Reform want healthcare to be free at the point of delivery.
Look at this grandstanding wanker.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. There appears to be some panic on that side of the House. I'm not surprised. To ask the Prime Minister, I'd like some advice, please. What do I say? Oh, they really are panicking, aren't they?
Ask your fucking question, you prick. This isn't fucking Nigel Farage chit-chat time.
Order. I want to get this question over with. All you're doing is ensuring it goes on forever. Quick question.
To ask the Prime Minister for some advice, what do I say to 25,000 constituents in Clacton, including...
You'd have to fucking go there first. What are you going to do? Ring them up? Tell them. You're going to ring them from America? Think of the roaming charges, you fool.
Either get on... No, you've got to... No, we're not both standing at the same... Look, I need a quick question, then I can get you the answer. Come on.
What do I say, Prime Minister, to 25,000 constituents in Clacton, including 99-year-old Jim O'Dwyer, who flew a full set of missions on Lancaster bombers as tail end Charlie, as they're losing their winter fuel allowance,
So you're annoyed that he fought the Nazis? So, I mean, presumably you would say, like, why did you bomb Germany? The Reich was supposed to last 1,000 years. Something like that, I imagine. No?
the pinch, whilst at the same time we're prepared to give away a military base and pay £18 billion for the privilege of doing so.
So, not only was that ridiculously over the long and just fucking grandstanding theatrics from this fucking twat, but he's asking a stupid question which was already asked like twice basically by the leader of the opposition, so a complete waste. And literally straight after this, so straight after Prime Minister's questions ended, there was an emergency question, which is if there's like an something that happens that needs to be discussed that isn't already on the agenda, you can ask it as an emergency question. The relevant minister will answer the question, and you can have a parliamentary debate about it. Right? Very important part of the responsive democracy. Right? And so that was granted to Nigel Farage straight after. Right? And the subject was the Chagos Islands. So it was preceded by the leader of the opposition asking two questions about it, and the man who just asked that question got an emergency question straight away after this about this, and yet he still wasted everyone's fucking time by asking another question about the Chagos Islands. A chain of islands that no one gives a fuck about. No one gives the slightest shit, but let's be honest, none of these people actually give a fuck about this. This is just some, we get to wank over the very few, the tiny little slivers of land that we still have from the Empire. It's fucking... unbelievable. Fucking unbelievable. Thank you, Dr. Phil Decker, with 100 bitty bits. Much love. I mean, Farage is merely the tip of the iceberg, my man. Don't UK parliamentarian constituencies have about 85,000 on average? Yes, but I think he means the 25,000 that are elderly, I think, that might lose their pensions or something, or lose their heating allowance, I think is the point he was trying to make. But I'll be honest with you, he was so busy sniffing his own farts, I couldn't really pick out the detail of the question.
Mr. Speaker, he talks of panic. The only panic is people using the NHS who know that under his policy he wants to charge them for using the NHS. And what he should say to the people of Clacton when he finally finds Clacton is that they
That's quite a good line.
should vote Labour because we're stabilising the economy and boosting the Dems.
Mr. Speaker, many of my
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many of my constituents in Folkestone and Hythe are expressing their frustration at the previous Tory government net migration figures, which quadrupled, increasing by nearly 1 million. But unbelievably, the shadow
To nearly 1 million. Not by nearly 1 million.
Foreign Secretary has admitted that her party is proud of their open borders experiment on Britain. So will the Prime Minister explain what...
Yeah, this question, this guy, this was handed to him. Pat McFadden wrote this one, and he's just been asked. He's just the robot boy who has to ask it.
he is doing to bring these numbers back under control.
Well, I'm grateful to him for raising this because we know that the Leader of the Opposition personally lobbied to remove annual limits on student and work visas. The Shadow Foreign Secretary still thinks they got a great record on immigration, forgetting that they quadrupled immigration, reaching almost 1 million a year.
How fucking shit is the chocolate teapot speaker? When literally I just heard Priti Patel shouting from a sedentary position on the microphone. How loud was she fucking shouting? And yet he won't pull her up on it. This is supposed to be orderly parliamentary conduct, is it? We'll go back to it, right? She's not even by a microphone, and yet you can hear her.
Visas. The Shadow Foreign Secretary still thinks they got a great record on immigration, forgetting that they quadrupled immigration, reaching almost 1 million a year.
She is about fucking 10 feet from the nearest microphone, and you can still fucking hear her voice distinctly. She was bellowing. And the speaker's just like, nah, I'm not going to do anything about that, that's fine. That's good. But don't interrupt Nigel Farage. No.
A year. Our Borders Bill will give stronger powers than ever to tackle people smugglers. We've already removed 16,000 people with no right to be here. The question for the opposition is, will they walk into the lobby with us next week to secure our borders?
Wow, I can be shitter on immigration than you. Wow. And now, Richard Tice, another Reform MP. They have 5 MPs. They have 5 MPs. 5. And yet 2 of them get to ask a question, as well as an emergency question from one of their people as well. So, like, the parliamentary estate is just encouraging, bending the knee, acquiescing, kissing the ring of fascism. 5 MPs, 2 questions. All of the Northern Irish MPs got 1, and there's like 17 of them. The Lib Dems get 3 questions, but that's because they have to. The SNP only got 1. The Greens didn't get any. None of the other parties or independents got any. Fucking embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. The Liberals aren't just sleepwalking us to fascism. They're dancing with them. They're pirouetting along with the fascists. They're coquetting fascism into power. A pas de deux of fascism, if you will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After she was kidnapped and shot, Emily Damari was held in captivity by Hamas in UNRWA facilities, confirming many of our fears that UNRWA is riddled with Hamas sympathisers.
What the fuck are you talking about, you cunt? You stupid, irrelevant cunt. Like, they're so far right, they're even doing far-right memes from a year ago. Oh, UNRWA, just like Hitler. Yeah, real populist man of the people shit going down now. Fucking gimp. Like, we know we know you've been paid to ask these questions. You know that, right? When you're asking stuff about the oil sector, it's because like BP paid you. We know you're for sale. You are the worst of the corporatists. We know that the lobby have paid for you to ask this question. It's embarrassing. It's so nakedly transparent. And yet it's just fine, apparently. Apparently Cash for Questions is just absolutely fine now. Oh yeah, Kieran, I know that part of the story, but he's not going to fucking tell it. He's going to lie. Yeah. So the UNRWA had left the buildings, and then Hamas went in and used them afterwards. So, like, if you've ever used a building and Hamas use it after you, that means you're Hamas. Apparently.
So, the British people do not want our aid being stolen by Hamas. So will the Prime Minister agree with me that we should stop funding Hamas, follow the example of other nations, and divert our aid to other, more trustworthy agencies?
Prime Minister.
Fucking scum. Honestly, terms of service is all I can say.
On the question of Emily Damari, I've spoken with Mandy on many occasions, including when she didn't know whether her daughter was alive or not. And just listening to her was to really understand the torture that she went through. I spoke just the other day to Emily.
Katie, Reform have been in the lead in 1 or 2 polls, although I think they're largely an outlier. I think they're probably still in second or possibly third. It's quite tight. But either way, they are not going to be the number one party in terms of seats, I would think. That seems unlikely. Because they're not... They've got... Their increase in vote is like spread too thinly across the country to necessarily win that many more seats. So for now, I don't think he becomes Prime Minister. But if Kid Starver over here keeps, freezing pensioners and stuff, maybe he will, I don't know.
Herself about the conditions in which she was held, and of course will continue to do so. But to be absolutely clear, and he knows this, we're not funding Hamas. Never will. We condemn Hamas, and everybody in this house should condemn Hamas.
Oh, we condom the hummus. Oh, we're going retro with it. Oh, we're condoming the hummus tonight, people. Let's fucking go.
Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 54,000 women a year lose their jobs when they are pregnant or on maternity leave. 1 in 10 HR managers say they would be reluctant to hire a woman whom they thought was might start a family. Law has not solved this. Will the Prime Minister please meet with me, Dad Shift and Pregnant Then Screwed to discuss the ring-fence paid paternity leave that is needed to bring about change?
Prime Minister.
She raised a very important issue.
Yeah, a very important issue that Keir Starmer doesn't give a fuck about.
In relation to maternity pay and maternity leave, the Leader of the Opposition thinks that maternity pay is excessive, and that's the difference. We know that workers' rights are pro-growth, and I'm proud that our Employment Rights Bill will introduce parental leave from day one, which means 1.5 million more employees will be entitled to unpaid parental leave, and 30,000 more...
Oh, wow. Unpaid parental leave that poor people can't afford to access because they still need to get paid. So literally that is a thing that only rich people can ever take advantage of. Fucking worthless.
Others to paternity leave. I'm happy to ensure that she gets the meeting with the relevant minister.
Gaga Mahindra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know that, like everyone in the House, the Prime Minister is an honourable member. On that basis,
no, you're
can
not.
Repeat his assurances that all rules were followed while the country was in Tier 4 lockdown in December 2020, not just by him, but as his team as well, but also his voice coach, Leona Mellinger.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
What a waste of a question.
In December 2020, I was in my office working on the expected Brexit deal. With my team, we had to analyse the deal as it came in at speed, prepare and deliver a live statement at speed on one of the most important issues for our country in recent years. That's what I was doing. What were they doing? Suitcases of booze into Downing Street, partying and fighting, vomiting up the walls, leaving the cleaners to remove red wine stains. That's the difference. I was working, they were partying.
Releasing.
Like, you kind of set yourself up there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the whole House will support the Prime Minister's comments and send our thoughts to the family and all those who loved Harvey Wilgoose after his tragic and senseless death on Monday. I support the government's actions to tackle the sale of certain knives online. But before national media attention moves on from yet another tragic death of a young person, I know the Prime Minister will agree with me that in order to tackle the scale of the crisis engulfing too many of our communities, we need a whole system, cross-government approach to tackle the root causes of violence. Will he commit his government to tackling such a national strategy?
Do you remember when it used to be your government too, but then you got fired because you criticised one company for being evil? Yeah. Aren't these questions meant to be approved first, Kev? Yes, they are. Yeah. Well, not approved first, but you're supposed to say what they are. You're supposed to tell the speaker what the question is. In theory, that shouldn't impact. That shouldn't impact whether your question gets taken or not. I suspect it probably does, though.
Prime Minister.
This incident was horrific and senseless, and I thank you for raising it. I think the thoughts of the whole House are with the victims' family, friends, and the school community and the wider community who've been impacted by this. We're all grateful to the first responders, the police officers and the medical staff who attended the scene, and it's right that South Yorkshire Police are given the time and space to carry out their investigation. We do need to do everything we can to bear down on knife crime. It is too easy to get knives online. It's too easy to carry knives without proper consequences. And
it's probably because of the mobile phones, though. Have you considered getting rid of the mobile phones? It's just the kids and their phones and their stabbings and the phone stabbings.
That's why we've made it an absolute priority in government, and I hope it's a cross-party issue to absolutely bear down on knife crime.
James McCreary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the Prime Minister will share my deep concern that families in my constituency of Lewis, particularly those with disabled children, face agonising waits for essential adaptations to council housing. In my inbox, I have cases where delays have left people unable to use a bathroom or even access a kitchen to simply make a cup of tea. Will the Prime Minister meet with me to discuss how we can ensure councils have the funding they need urgently to build and retrofit homes to ensure that all children have the start in life they deserve?
Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this really important issue for his constituents and actually so many constituents. I'm pleased to confirm that we've put down £69 billion for...
Hey, 69! He did the sex number.
Councils. That's a 6.8% cash terms increase, including up to £3.7 billion in vital additional funding for social care. And we've doubled the funding for the Disabled Facilities Grant, an additional £86 million to allow 7,800 more disabled and elderly people to make improvements that enable more independent lives, and will continue to do so, working across the House.
Snell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 83 proud pottery workers woke up on Monday morning with no job following the collapse of the 200-year-old Royal Stafford pottery firm. It is a crisis in our ceramics industry. Escalating prices for energy and fake and foreign imports is causing a real problem. So could I ask the Prime Minister if he, through his offices, can arrange for the energy companies to meet with Ceramics UK and the GMB as the voice of the workforce so we can hammer out a new deal? And can he promote, through public procurement...
Not can you get rid of the awful fucking economic system which has crippled any kind of industry in this country. Just... can you ask the energy companies nicely to fuck over our industries slightly less? Honestly, the scope of... I don't even know. The scope of the dream for the Labour Party, the scope of their ambition, is so minuscule. The size of the difference they think they can make is so tiny and pathetic. It's fucking embarrassing. That's the best they think. Look, people just got fucked over in your community, and the best you can do is, Prime Minister, can you ask the company, the energy companies to fuck us slightly less hard, please? How fucking embarrassing. This is the Labour Party. The clue's supposed to be in the fucking name. And this is the best you can do. This is the best impact you think you can fucking make. You absolutely worthless cunts.
Buying British so that proud manufacturing jobs in Stoke can be protected.
Minister.
Well, I'm grateful to him for raising this really important issue, and it is obviously a question of jobs, but it's also a question of identity and a sense of place. And of course, we'll work with the energy companies, and of course, we'll have the relevant meetings, as he suggests.
Colin Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Agnes lives in my Bicester and Woodstock constituency.
Oh, I thought that might... There's a Scottish guy that speaks in a bit who's fucking mental. I love him. Honestly, I think we need to adopt him as our MP. At Channel MP.
In 2019, when she was 9,
Not this
she was
guy,
referred by her GP to Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, CAMS. Agnes has had to wait over 9 years for an assessment for the neurodiversity that has caused her crushing mental health problems. Last year, when Agnes's dad, Jim, sought to accelerate her appointment, he was told that CAMS could not see her or prioritise her appointment, and I quote, unless Agnes is actively trying to kill herself. Jim asked me to raise this case today because he wants to ensure that no other child goes through the same experience as his daughter. Will the Prime Minister meet with Agnes, Jim and me to hear their story?
Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this issue?
Again, whatever he's about to say is going to be rubbish, and he doesn't care. They're cutting mental health sickness benefit, thus ensuring basically that more people will commit suicide. He doesn't care about this. He's a genuinely evil man.
Issue in that way, and pass on to Agnes and Jim just how impactful what he has said is, and how important it is that he continues to raise this issue, because far too many children and young people are waiting far too long to receive the mental health support that they need, and we're determined to ensure more children and young people can access high quality mental health support in a timely manner. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please.
Llandudno is a beautiful seaside town, a wonderful place to visit. But businesses...
It is a nice place. I've been to Didno many times. Beautiful. Llandudno, isn't it? Tidy, lush.
...are struggling with the rise in shoplifting. In many cases, thieves are stealing...
Not as good as Llanelli, though, but at the different end of Wales. They're the opposite ends of Wales.
...full view of staff because they just don't fear the consequences. The recent funding boost for neighbourhood policing is very welcome, but could the Prime Minister please tell my constituents what more this government is doing to tackle retail crime and deter repeat offenders?
Prime Minister.
Well, for far too long, crimes like shoplifting have been written off as low level. That's wrong, it's devastating, and the party opposite left us with rising crime and effectively told
22 billion? Are we going to get a 22 billion? Come on, let's get a reprise.
The police to ignore shoplifting under £200 worth of goods. We've got rid of that shoplifters charter and working hard to make sure that we take a grip where they lost control.
William.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Following my right honourable friend, the member for Kingston and Surbiton, I wanted to raise an equally troubling case. My constituent retired from the police force to care for his wife, working a part-time job to help pay the bills. As his earnings were not consistent, there were times he was above the carer's allowance threshold, causing later payments to be withheld. He's now owed thousands of pounds, and recently he's been diagnosed with grade 4 glioblastoma, which has made the situation even more serious. Will the Prime Minister...
See, usually a police officer getting cancer would be a good news story, but this is just sad.
agree to look at this situation and ensure the Department for Work and Pensions supports rather than penalises carers?
Prime Minister.
Again, we've obviously set up the independent review into exactly what happened in these cases, which was the right thing to do. We will look at individual circumstances. So again, if she's willing to pass the details to me, we'll look at them.
Joanna Baxter.
That's not an answer.
Mr. Speaker, Audit Scotland recently exposed the incredible funding crisis facing our councils in Scotland. £759 million of a funding gap. They also reported that the 12 counties...
Also, this is Cherie Blair cosplay, is what this is. This is just younger Cherie Blair cosplay. You know what? I don't dislike it. It's fine.
councils that the 12 councils that make up the Strathclyde Pension Fund are reducing their employer contributions from 19.3% to 6.5%. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that instead of taking money out of workers' pensions, that the Scottish Government appropriately fund our councils?
She's absolutely right to point out the failure of the government in Scotland. They don't want to talk about that failure. They've got the powers, they've got the resources, they just haven't got any excuses left.
Close question. Yep.
It's rare you get a closed question, which is the Prime Minister essentially pre-answers, then he asks the question, and then like it's a weird parliamentary thing.
The honourable member asks about visiting Scotland. As he knows, my first visit as a Prime Minister, within days of becoming Prime Minister, was to Scotland, where I met the First Minister. I've also been for the meeting of the Council of Regions and Nations in October, Interpol General Assembly in November, the British Irish Council in Edinburgh in December, and look forward to going again very soon.
Dave Duggan.
Here he is. I love him. He's mental. I love him. And he's next to the tiny queen as well. She's just behind the thing there. There you go. She is small. She's small. She's small beans. Can we get some love in chat for the small queen? She may be tiny, but she packs a big punch. Okay, figuratively.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister couldn't tell me when he was going to be coming to Scotland next. But does he agree? Does he agree with the withering?
Why does he not have a top lip? Where is this man's top lip? It doesn't exist. It's disappeared. Excuse me, sir. The top part of your mouth has done a runner.
Assessment of the eminent politics professor Sir John Curtis, who says the current UK Prime Minister is the worst thing to happen to Annex Sarwar. And if he doesn't, and he should, is he think it's stripping Scottish pensioners of their winter fuel payment, or abandoning workers in Grangemouth, or attacking the national insurance payments of farmers? Does he believe that that is what's catastrophically torpedoed Labour in the polls in Scotland? So when he does get a date, he can even bring his Chancellor with him to back him up on the numbers, assuming she's still the Chancellor by then.
Fuck me. That was the shoutiest one today. He wins loudest question of the day.
I remember when that rhetoric used to come from them sitting down here.
Order. Mr. Duggan, I want... Order. Mr. Duggan, I want no more. Prime Minister.
He has to shout, Mr. Speaker, because they're so far up there, so few of them.
Oh, see. Oh, because we won the election and now everyone hates us. So he's just going to do the SNP, I've only got a few seats line, and then go, ha, I'm the Prime Minister, and then Nigel Farage becomes Prime Minister. That's it. That's what he's going to do. He's just going to do the I want a technicality vote until fascism wins. Fantastic. Thanks, Keir. Really excellent work.
But they can't get heard without shouting.
Didn't answer the question either, cunt.
My constituent Matthew and his mum Catherine, alongside Emma Murphy and Janet Williams, have campaigned for many years to get compensation for families affected by the epilepsy drug sodium valproate. 12 months on from the Patient Safety Commissioner's report on this matter, those harmed are still waiting for the recommendations to be implemented. So can I ask the Prime Minister how much longer individuals and families impacted by valproate will need to wait for the clarity they seek? And will the Prime Minister arrange for the Health Minister to meet with valproate campaigners to discuss this important matter?
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this is obviously a really important matter. I understand the Minister for Patient Safety did meet patient groups before Christmas to hear their stories and their accounts and experiences firsthand. And we will provide an update on the Patient Safety Commissioner's report at the earliest opportunity to the House.
Saoirse Eastwood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We all know how the song goes. You got.
Oh my god, no Justice MTG has a fucking tiny queen eye roll emote. honestly, I've got to say, you should subscribe to No Justice MG anyway, because she's fucking awesome. But the emote game is so on point. It's beautiful.
Gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, and when to run. And we've done all of them in Northern Ireland because the system of government that we have is a gamble. Well, I'm not prepared to roll the dice on the people of Lagan Valley who have already been without government 40% of the time. Secretary of State for Northern Ireland says he wants to stop the cycles of...
See, I would translate for you. Can't be bothered. You either understand what you're saying, or, let's be honest, most of you don't.
collapse. So do I. But don't then turn around and tell us in Northern Ireland that we can't deliver public service transformation if no steps are taken to stop the collapse. The people of Northern Ireland who I represent, nationalist, unionist and unaligned like myself, are all out of aces. Our public services are on the floor. Will this government be the one to step up to the plate, reform the institutions, end the veto and stop rolling the dice on the people of Northern Ireland?
Prime Minister.
Ironically, I can't help but feel that Nigel Farage's face during this question is a mood. I don't usually think that his weird froggy expressions do a lot for me, but I kind of, just like...
End the veto and stop rolling the dice on the people of Northern Ireland.
Prime Minister.
I feel him. I feel him on that, to be honest.
Mr. Speaker, since 1998, the Good Friday Agreement has delivered a far more peaceful society in Northern Ireland, and that is really important. Restoration of the power sharing was a significant milestone and allows the institutions to make progress on the most important issues to the people of Northern Ireland, and will continue to work with all parties to that end.
Jill Furness.
Is she good or bad? Well, ironically, she's in the middle, Fago. I don't know about her specific politics necessarily, but usually it goes unionist bad, Republican good. Not always, but Whereas she's in the middle. It's non-aligned. And in some respects, it's probably good that you do have more of those non-aligned, non-sectarian parties. Because that's probably the way to go. Because, the problem with Northern Ireland isn't just that they're separated, it's that they're separated. So it's literally a sectarian headcount. It's not democracy in a usual sense in Northern Ireland. It was always just a sectarian headcount. Sinn Féin would get a certain number of seats. The UUP were the main unionist party for a long time, and then the DUP took over briefly. And now it's a weird mixture of DUP and TUV, and oh god. Whereas the Alliance Party or the SDLP, I think, is another one. They're not sectarian, at least to a large extent. They don't represent a religious or ethnic community or whatever. They represent all of the people there. And I think the success of parties like the Alliance Party are probably a sign of a healthier approach to politics in Northern Ireland, even though the Stormont Assembly is fucking useless. Literally fucking useless. So,
I was delighted to recently visit Chaucer School, a great school in my constituency with fantastic young people.
Sorry, not SDLP. Oh, bollocks. There's the Alliance Party, and there's another one with letters, and I've forgotten it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point being, there are non-aligned ones now. Like I say, even though I support the Republican side of things, I think it's healthier for the people of the Republic of Ireland to move away from sectarianism.
Innovative and
hot take, I know.
Motivated teaching staff. But 14 years of Tory government did not do enough for more than 300,000 children across the country attending schools that are stuck and kept receiving poor Ofsted judgments. Will the Prime Minister set out how this government will tackle inequality and tear down barriers to opportunity through our plan for change?
Mr. Speaker, the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill will ensure that all schools can innovate, new teachers are qualified, and every child receives a consistent core education to set them up for success in life.
Dr. Danny Chambers.
Mr. Speaker, 5 months ago, the Care Quality Commission reported that 2/3 of maternity units in England were unsafe. And years of unsafe staffing levels have resulted in the NHS paying an astonishing £1.15 billion a year in compensation due to avoidable injuries caused during childbirth and sometimes deaths. The previous Conservative government have allowed maternity services to deteriorate to the point where many consider it to be a public health crisis. Will the Prime Minister commit to improving maternity care and women's health services as a top priority so our maternity unit in Winchester and those around the rest of the country are the safest places in the world for women to give birth?
I thank him for raising this important issue. Women and babies deserve the highest standards of care through pregnancy, birth and the months that follow. We're committed to recruiting thousands of new midwives for the NHS whilst providing support to trusts failing on maternity care. Mr Speaker, we're working with the NHS as it delivers a 3-year maternity plan, which is making good progress in improving services, including for his constituents.
Final question, Michael Wheeler.
Mr Speaker, last week I had the opportunity to visit 2 of the local job centres that serve my constituency of Worsley and Eccles. The dedication of the staff I met to helping our local community, supporting people into work and adapting to the area's needs was inspiring. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that we must listen to their frontline experiences as we look to remove the barriers to work that keep people locked out of jobs, and will he visit these teams with me to see the work they do?
Well, I thank him for his question. Our Get Britain Working White Paper sets out the biggest reforms to employment support in a generation, backed by £240 million of investment. And through our plan for change, we'll boost living standards, more secure, rewarding jobs to make work pay. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
That completes Prime Minister's questions. No.
Well, that was fucking pointless as always. What the fuck? Mitch McConnell in a wheelchair? Just so that he looks even more like fucking Dr. Strangelove. Brilliant. I wonder if he has to do the thing where he has to grab his hand before he does the salute. God. Like, honestly, at what point do they just go, fuck it, we're not having any new people, and just start wheeling out corpses in coffins? It doesn't matter if they're dead. We're just gonna wheel out dead people. Decomposing, rotting husks. He fell down some stairs today, and unfortunately he didn't die. Like, come on, Gravity, are you really doing the job you're supposed to? The whole point of having old people and stairs as a combination is to help the process along. Yeah, Jimmy Carter can still run in 2028, fuck it. An English accent? What's this? Hang on. What weird accent is this? Let's have a look. Would help if I put volume.
What could be better for first track than a Wiener Schnitzel? First we need what we call Panierstrasse. Take 3 plates, add flour, scrambled egg and a little bit of bresel or breadcrumbs. Next we need some high quality meat. I take organic veal. You can also use pork or chicken, but then it's just Wiener Schnitzel Ort or Viennese Schnitzel style. Do the butterfly cut, put some parchment paper or plastic foil over it and smack it a little.
What the fuck is... what? What the fuck is... what?
But not too hard, be gentle. Afterwards you put on a little bit of salt and put it to the side. Take a big pan, put in some Butterschmalz or clarified butter. The meat now walks through our Panierstrasse. Be gentle with the breadcrumbs, just flip it once or twice but never press on it, because we want to have a buttery, fluffy crust.
Is this German or Swedish? I can't tell. That's the most amazingly Austrian accented English I've ever...
A precise toss of breadcrumbs into the hot fat. Let us see if it's ready. Let the schnitzel glide into the fat and then fry it while you move the pan in a circular motion. Flip it once or twice and put it out when it's golden brown. Put a slice of lemon on top, and of course I forgot the anchovy fillet, sorry. And that's the perfect Wiener Schnitzel. Fluffy crust on the outside and juicy meat on the inside. Enjoy, or as we say, Mahlzeit.
That does sound nice. I mean, it looks far too intense as a production for me to bother with, frankly. When non-foreign food exists, like English kebab. Anyway. Yes. Or English curry. Naturally, as well. Anywho. I'm going to fuck off, I think so. Once or twice. It sounds almost Austrian. With the part in the link, shut up, fucking having a go at me. Yeah, Austrian English. Don't make me mention him. I've already got to go and finger him, for fuck's sake. Okay, who's going? Yeah, James from the Internet. I haven't been to James from the Internet in a while. Yeah, we can go there. Who's going on YouTube, if anyone? It's usually not a massive selection. Because who the fuck even streams on Twitter on YouTube? The Surfs are going. No Justice is going. Oh, they're doing a gaming thing. Oh, okay. Because earlier I was like, oh, do you want to watch PMQs? And she's like, oh, I'm busy. I was going to be furious. Oh, but she's doing a gaming thing, so she's busy. Fair enough. Are the Vanguard are going? Go and say hello to the Vanguard people. Hi. And on Twitch, who did we say? James from the Internet? Boom. Jammers. There are lots of Jameses, aren't there? James from the Internet. There we go. Okay. Go and say hello to James from the Internet, and I'll be back tomorrow with the aforementioned and awesome, who should also go and follow, No Justice MTG. And yeah, thank you everyone for all of your support. Thank you for listening and watching. No pass around.